Oh yeah, Lue. Oh yeah, Lue. Oh yeah, here we go. We're live, baby.
All right.
What's up, y'all? How's it going? Everybody on live YouTube, what's up? Okay, we're ready.
Cool. Well, hey, man, this is another episode of UFO Garage.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Joe, and this is where we talk about UFOs, aliens, today probably some cars, and usually all things weird,
It's
man.
weird, baby. Yes.
What's up, man? How are you today?
Dude, I'm excited, man. Well, first off, it's been a long week, and it's been a crazy week.
Absolutely.
Not just, with our jobs and stuff, but like everything else that's happening in the world and the news with UFOs. And we've got an awesome guest on tonight.
Yes.
Lue Elizondo. What?
Yeah, it's definitely not just our neighbor,
Yeah, which is normally kind of the thing. So
it's good stuff, man. Dude.
Well,
I'm ready to go.
Let's bring him
Ready
in.
to go. Let's bring him in.
Lue, what's up, man?
Gents, how are we doing today?
Man, we are awesome.
Fantastic.
Super awesome.
Fantastic.
So let me just start, Joe. I'm jealous. I'm jealous of that wonderful mane you have. I there was a time in my life when I used to have a glorious mane like that as well, but unfortunately, it started turning colors. It started turning gray, and so I know I came home from one deployment one day. My daughter said, "Dad, you're turning gray. You're looking like Santa Claus." So I said, "Oh, hell no!" So I shave it down. I had my goatee. And about a year and a half later, my daughter comes back. She says, "Dad," I'm like, "What, honey?" She says, This is turning gray." I'm like, "What?" So I shave that off too, right? And well, time goes by, and my daughter comes back again. She says, "Dad, I don't want to hear it. It's staying. It ain't gray. It's blonde. That's what it is. I'm not cutting. If I cut this off, I'm gonna look like an oversized 12-year-old. So no,
that's
this is staying where it is. But I just wanted to say from one beard man to another, man, major mad respect to you.
Oh, thank you very much, man. And I completely understand. Sometimes you just got to put your foot down on some things,
Yeah.
and facial hair is definitely one of them. I have to encourage you though, man. Maybe you should think about maybe bringing in the beard, because I started getting some gray, and I think it's looking kind of cool actually. Like I've started getting all cocky and like telling people what to do, because like now I'm getting older officially.
Well, see,
man.
you can wear it and probably rock it. I just look like a creepy Santa Claus, and so it's like, all right, I can't, I can't rock the beard anymore.
Well, you got a great thing going right now, man. So
little does anybody, no one knows this, but Joe actually grew that beard last week, and he started on Monday, and it's gotten this far.
So. Guys, listen, I'm Latin, and all I got to say is, man, I'll be careful what I say on here, but we're kind of hairy people, so I'll shave in the morning, and man, I'll be darned if I don't got that shadow coming in. I often tease if I go to the gym in the morning, if I strain while working out, I'll come back with a full beard, man.
I'm telling you, yeah, the struggle is real. I completely understand. That's why I have all this. It's just too much work.
Yeah.
Yes, man. Well, hey, man, we're super glad to have you on tonight. This is going to be super exciting. It's really cool for Ben and I. We've been doing this for kind of a short time, and we always go back to this conversation that we have, like, we can like hang out with our neighbors, and like we can just sit around and talk about aliens. And it's just so cool that like going from that to like where we are right now, getting to hang out with you, man, and just get to chit chat and get to know you for a little bit. It's just awesome, man. So, well,
listen, guys, let me tell you, in all seriousness, Ben and Joe, this is you guys and your audience are the reason why we're having this conversation. I can sit up on a podium all day long and I can yammer all day, but at the end of the day, what matters is folks like you, everyday folks that are interested in the topic, that are willing to have the conversation, that are saying hell to the stigma and taboo. We are here today exactly for the reason that because you folks are here doing what you're doing. And I'm not just saying that frivolously. I'm not just saying that to kiss your ass. I'm telling you honestly, this is the if you will, the movement that I've been referring to, this groundswell of people saying, hey, you know what? I want to know the truth. I want to know what my government knows. I want to get involved, and I want some answers that frankly my taxpayer dollars paid for, those answers belong to me. And I think it's great. You guys are making it happen. You guys are every day on the ground having the conversation, whether it's by the water cooler, in this case, the garage, while turning wrenches. That's huge. And just as much as you guys give me kudos for where we are today in a conversation, I in turn have to give them to you and your audience, because this is why this conversation is successful. It's not because of me, it's because of you guys.
Well, thank you, man.
Very high praise.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things where it's a lot of people have been talking about it for a really, really long time, and you can really kind of see it. Like, there's a lot of people out there that are tired, but now they're starting to like really get this energy, there's a lot of like younger people that are starting to come in, and like everybody's just starting to ask questions and wanting to know things, and it's really kind of like, hopefully it's kind of this new era, it'd be kind of nice to turn the page a little bit, and
yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a renaissance, right? I mean, it's kind of like a new beginning and a new enlightenment for me. Why my generation screwed this whole thing up royally. So, really, I hate to say it, but the responsibility is on your generation and the generation after you to kind of fix this and put this back on track. And hopefully, for the love of God, don't make the same mistakes my generation did by just, making cheap Hollywood movies and tinfoil hats and frankly bullshit like that.
Right.
This is a serious topic and it affects all of us. And I applaud you guys and I applaud your generation for saying the hell with your generation, Lou. You guys are the reasons why we're here to begin with. You screwed it up for the last 70 years. Now it's time to change the way we do business. And that's why I love the whole term of young guns. I know in the whole term of ufology, people kind of, get emotional about it, but I like that. I think fresh ideas are always important, because dinosaurs like me, we're, every day that goes on is there's fewer and fewer of us left on the planet. And maybe that's a good thing for this topic. And it's more and more this narrative is falling into your hands. So again, I just encourage you to be fearless, continue to have the conversation, to hell with what people say. Look, there's two types of people in the world. There are those people that witness and are subject to history. And then there are those individuals that are part of making history. And you guys are, and your audience is part of that making history. You're living through it right now. And I'm not sure you'll appreciate it at the very moment. You're probably kind of like, wow, what the heck's going on? But I think 5, 10, 15 years from now, you'll look back and say, holy crap, we were really at the tip of the spear on that. We were leading this charge, this movement at a grassroots level. Yeah. And I mean, that's enormous. That's a huge accomplishment. Very few people can say that.
Speaking of tip, I mean, you were a tip. I mean, that you were part of this program. See what I did there? Did you realize how big of a deal this was going to be when you were at your position and investigating this phenomenon?
No, I hope I never had to have this conversation publicly. I was hopeful that my government and the organization I was in would continue to do the right thing, and that is continue to ask the obvious questions and continue to research this topic, not pretend like it didn't exist. I'm only here because certain elements in the system failed to do their job. The bureaucracy failed. And I'm not going to, blame any one single individual, but I took the same oath everybody else did, and that is to defend your country from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And when the enemy turns out to be the bureaucracy itself, you are enjoined and in some cases empowered to fix it. When I first went into AATIP, I would have hoped, I would have dreamed that this day would never come, because that means we failed. The fact that I'm having this conversation, having to be public about this in the way that I'm doing it, means we failed our mission before. It means we did not succeed in getting this information where it needed to be, when it needed to be, and so individuals could make good decisions. So no, I'm grateful for the opportunity to try to fix it, but no, I'm here because we failed, because I failed.
I mean, I've never heard anyone from the government admit to failure, so that's pretty huge, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not like some dude that's against the government or anything, but I'm just being observant. Like, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's true.
There's
I
always
could
like
sit
a
here all
spin.
day long and tell you, oh, things are rosy and we did such a great job. And the people that in the office did do a fantastic job. But ultimately, the responsibility fell on my shoulders to take this conversation and get it before the right people. And, whether it was my fault or not, the responsibility is on me to do it. And the buck stopped with me, and ultimately I failed in that mission, and I had to wind up leaving the very department that I loved in order to finish the very mission they gave me in the first place.
Yeah.
Dang.
So when you were put in that position, did you have any idea of the magnitude of like, you're like, okay, there's a lot of stuff that I need to do, and then coming up against these roadblocks and being able to kind of do your job, was it only then that you kind of realized like how like I don't know, like how deep this really is, or was it just bureaucracy as usual? Is it just
Yeah. Did it get into any other layers that were unexpected?
Well, sure. Now, I think if you're asking me, there's any type of can I validate or verify any conspiracies that people are always tempted to ask. Unfortunately, I think the biggest secret is that there was a lot of dysfunction. There wasn't it wasn't some secret guy smoking a cigarette in a dim lit room and making all the decisions. It wasn't. We were subject to budget cuts every 4 years. You have a potentially new administration that comes in. You're doing budget drills where you're cutting 10%, 20% of your budget, and you're manning and people that you were going to hire. Now you can't hire anymore. And there's this kind of whipsaw effect that you're always doing. Then, of course, halfway through an administration, we ran out of money. So we needed to take another 20% cut. Well, 20% of nothing is nothing. I can't cut anymore. There's nothing else to cut. And so that was a big distraction. Plus, you had at the time, a lot of battle fatigue in real life. We were still fighting a war in Afghanistan and later on in Iraq as well. And then we had all sorts of issues in Africa with terrorism. Of course, not to mention all the other issues like nuclear proliferation and rogue nation states acquiring nuclear technology. So, I'm not going to certainly lay blame and say, my topic, my portfolio should have been number one and priority one for the country. That's silly. I'm not saying that, and I never would say that. What I'm simply saying is that someone needed to be eventually on the stick for this. And it needed to be someone at a very senior level that could at some point advise the president, advise the Secretary of Defense, advise Congress about these issues, because these issues weren't going away. They continue to happen more and more and more often and more frequently. And I kept having these reports coming in from aviators and folks aboard ships and folks out in the field. And they were desperate, in some cases, very desperate pleas. And I kept, letting them know, don't worry, the cavalry's coming. And I'd go up and brief it, and it'd come back and, no, there was no bugle. There was no cavalry coming.
Yeah.
And it got very frustrating. And so, yeah. So,
I
anyways.
bet, man.
Yeah.
So this job, like, man, the things that go through my head. I mean, obviously, it's not something that they post out on the bulletin board outside the mess hall, right? It's not something that you're like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm going to do this.
That sounds cool.
I'm going to apply for that job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how much you can go into it, but I mean, like, how did they come to the decision, Lue's our guy?
So you guys are probably too young for this, but when I grew up, there used to be commercials for this cereal known called Life cereal, right?
Mikey.
And Mikey, right? Nobody ever wanted to eat the new stuff. Hey, give it to Mikey. Let Mikey try it. He'll eat it. Well,
Mikey will eat anything.
I had that was me. I was Mikey. I had the worst portfolios you can imagine. Every radioactive portfolio that nobody wanted to touch, that was absolute career suicide, was given to me. And so the last 10 years of my career, I was really focused on two primary portfolios. One was Guantanamo Bay, and the other one was the UFO portfolio.
Yeah.
And as you can imagine, I was probably one of the most unpopular people in the entire building.
Wow. That's pretty wild. Man, Lou, so before you started doing all this stuff, like, has anything wild ever happened to you? Like, did you ever have an experience as like a child or something? Or did anything happen to you that like ever inspired you to like, oh my goodness, look at what's happening. You know, I'm gonna be getting into this position. There's stuff I've always wanted to know. I mean, have you ever had an experience, I guess is what I'm asking, pre-AATIP?
Boy, that's probably a question better asked literally in one of our garages while we're drinking copious amounts of alcohol. You know, I've always avoided talking about my personal experiences because I'm not sure at the end of the day. First of all, they may not be relevant and they may not even be valid. Because they're my own personal observations and experiences. And I think it's important when we're having a conversation like this on a topic like this, that we avoid the temptation of superimposing our own personal bias and our own experiences over the collection of data. Because what happens, we're human beings. And what's going to happen is that data is going to be tainted. It's going to be jaded, even subconsciously, even if we don't even think it's happening. We are. There's a reason why in a jury you sequester a jury away and you don't let them watch the news or the media or anything, because it will subconsciously influence their decision-making process. And so for that exact reason, I don't want to jade the jury. And as I've said before, my job is very simple. It's to collect the truth and speak the truth. That's it, as an investigator. And then present that information to a jury. And in this case, you guys are the jury. Your audience is the jury. The American people are the jury. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what I think something is. What matters is what the facts say. And what matters is what you think about those facts, not Lue Elizondo. And so, you know, I've always abstained from talking about personal experiences as they relate to this, only because, you know, I as tempting as the offer may be, I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. I don't really, frankly, give a damn if somebody believes me or not. That's what I'm doing this. I'm doing this to get the facts out. Yeah. And then you know, you make up your own mind. You make up your own decision what those facts mean. I'm not going to lead you down some preconceived narrative, some path where, you know, oh, the great Oracle Lue has spoken. That's horseshit. That's not what I'm trying to do. Excuse my language.
Well, a lot of people would react that way, though. Like,
you know, it's yeah. Well, because cults of personality and this career field is full of them. You don't need another one of those.
Yeah.
You need to make up your own mind. You need to be armed with the information, and then you decide what path it is you want to go down and what makes sense for you.
So, sorry,
I was gonna say, like, while we're on the topic of speaking the truth, and to the people that, you know, experience this stuff all the time.
And I apologize, by the way, for cursing. So, folks,
dude, you're okay.
We
small children out there, I'm sorry.
We're never gonna get monetized.
I'm an old military man, so no excuse. It's just an explanation.
Yeah,
no worries, man. No worries.
So I was gonna say, like, from AATIP to TTSA, right? Like, there was something about TTSA that always irked me, Joe. Like, why didn't they talk to anybody in the ufology community or any experiencer? Like, that's something that me and Joe love to do. That's what this podcast is about: is talking to experiencers, people that have seen this stuff firsthand. Those are the stories that we want to get. You know, sure. We've had our own experiences, and, you know, they're not as intense as some others that we've talked to and the people that we met. And going from AATIP to TTSA, you're a part of this thing. You're not talking to anybody in this community. And the fact that, you know, all this not complaint, but like this turmoil.
Ben, I got it. And Ben, you're absolutely right. And look, no, this is not a hit on TTSA or anybody else. You know, when I came out of the government, I wasn't a ufology guy. I'm still not a ufology guy. I'm a national security guy. And so what I wanted to do, my focus personally, was to focus on the 99% of the people that have never really been exposed to this topic, right? Because the ufology people already have their base, and they have their theories, and they have they're already having their conversations about this. But there's 99% of the world yet that hasn't really been exposed. Now, at the same time, what wound up happening is, in doing so, me personally, wound up neglecting that core group of people who already had an interest in this, right? And so I had falsely assumed that they don't need me. They have themselves, and they, already are doing their research, and they have their experts and everything like that. So I have less of a role to play. And it wasn't till probably I realized people were coming to me saying, "Hey, I've been trying to get in touch with you for a year." I'm like, "What do you mean? Just email me." And they're like, "No, we can't." That's when I realized, maybe there's a small issue here. And so,
well, you're double timing it. Like you're making up for that. I feel like, or now, right? Like,
yeah, definitely
getting out there.
Well, I mean, I have some making up to do, don't I? I mean, we spent a lot of time not talking to everybody, and looking back, that was probably a bit of a mistake, and I'll be the first one to accept responsibility for that. I didn't think that I mean, when I first came out, most of ufology hated me. Most of the people in this community, you mentioned my name and they'd spit on the ground and say disinformation agent and CIA shill and blah 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 and all this other nonsense.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well,
well, I mean, do you but like, I mean, we've all heard the horror stories. I mean, do you kind of understand like why people felt that way? Like,
guys, I don't blame anybody for that. I totally get it. But I also would say, we have to be careful because of look, if you judge someone because of their previous job, it's like judging someone for their religion or their color or their race or their ethnicity. We have to be careful not to stereotype, because I know people say, once a CIA guy, always a CIA guy. Well, that's not true, and they're all disinformation agents. Well, first of all, do you even know what that word means? Because a lot of people throw it around. Oh, he's a disinformation agent. Okay, give me the definition of it. Oh, it's a false flag. Okay, what's the definition of a false flag? Right.
It's not a flag, dude.
I don't know. It sounds cool. No, it's there's a specific definition. It's called the English language. Please, learn it and use it correctly. So for me, it was a little bit frustrating because people, I did my job with great pride and I served my country honorably. And my entire wall is my whole life. You can't see it here, but my entire life is here. And I lost a lot of friends on the battlefield who didn't come back and weren't able to spend time with their family or friends. They lost their lives over there. And for people to just willy-nilly, accuse somebody of something like that is, it's very hurtful. And, as I've said before, at least in combat, I can shoot my enemy, but here I can't. I'm supposed to just smile and take it and stay focused. And so my answer to that was, just, ignore all that noise. Let those folks do what they do. If they want to eat their own. I'm going to focus on the other, major portion of the population that really never consider this even as a remote possibility, right? They're learning this for the first time. So going back and engaging people and having to let them meet me as a real person, then they kind of say, oh, I still don't like government people, but Lou, you're kind of okay, And I said, well, if we talk a little bit more, you might find some of my friends, they're actually okay too. And you're going to find out that we're all human beings. And it was a job that we did. We did it for America, not against America. And please don't hold me accountable for my father's sins, because that's not fair. Right. Yes, there were times the government did bad things to Americans. They lied to them. Look, I'm in the middle of a fight right now where people aren't being forthcoming. They're not being truthful with the American people. Yeah. But I'm handling it. I'm fighting it the right way. I'm not just going out and screaming at the top of my lungs. There are mechanisms that are available to try to get the system to work. If you don't like the system, don't put everybody into the same basket, and say, oh, you're all bad. That's not the case. There's a lot of people, a lot of patriots out there that really want to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Well, I want to say thank you for your service. First and foremost, I also want to say, so my older brother was a police officer for 20 years. And the one thing he would tell me growing up, because, I'd be afraid of cops. He said, dude, it's me. Like, they're just people. After their job, they're kicking back and they have families and they're just normal people. So I think what you're doing now is amazing, bro. Like just going on and talking to people.
Yeah, it's just changing people's minds, and yeah, for sure. Like when it first all dropped and then they're like, there's this guy, Lue Elizondo. I mean, I'll be the first one to tell you. I was like, oh, well, here we go again, you know. And then, like, you know,
Sure.
the more you hear you talk, but I mean, like you said, I mean, you understand, we all understand that, like, yeah, there was like a pretty gnarly time, like in this field where there was some stuff happening, you know, and so it's always it's like a healthy skepticism, you know. And that's what I'm saying, like turning a new page where it's
I
like,
agree. I think healthy skepticism is important as long as it doesn't lead to paranoia.
for sure,
You know, paranoia isn't based in reason. You know,
Yeah.
skepticism, sure. Paranoia, not so much. You know,
Yeah.
that can be debilitating and it's not very productive. So
for sure,
that's would be my only word of caution. Always, you know, be always cautious. Just don't let your caution wind up controlling you.
Yeah, yeah, man, and we get it. Me and Ben understand the arrows being shot. People tell us we can't read all the time.
Yeah, all the time, dude.
Sometimes they're like, these guys are dummies. You know, it happens. It happens. But hey, I mean,
just because we can't actually read, like
we read very well. Actually,
I'm gonna let you guys in a little secret here. After spending my entire career in the intelligence community, I've learned you don't have to be intelligent to be in the intelligence community. So,
dang, dude.
I am absolutely living proof of that.
So they're hiring, right? Like,
yeah, right.
Dude, let's go.
Man, so I wanted to ask you, you know, even though you don't want to, you know, you don't really talk about your personal experiences, even, you know, you've probably seen some stuff. I'm trying to get my thoughts together. You've probably seen some stuff and then heard somebody talk about something and you're like, yeah, that's what that looks like, you know, like in your head, you know. I mean, it's impossible that hasn't happened. So even if you say yes or no, we all know the truth. But you know,
I'm kind of doing it now, aren't I?
so you know, an experiencer themselves or somebody, if we're talking about, you know, about the data, are people are data too, aren't they?
We are, absolutely.
And so, like, when we're talking about like the experiences and like being able to share experience and stuff, you know, you're a vital piece of that data. And I see, like, in your position how that could be a little sticky, obviously, but being able to freely share, you know, your experience is I think is very important. But at the same time, you got to obviously be careful on, you know, what you're listening to, because anybody can just say anything, right? But when we're actually getting like the radar signals and we're getting these photos and like we're getting actual like pilots confirming this stuff, and then you start crossing that data with like the actual stories, you know, is that a way that you can kind of weed out the not so credible stuff? You know, we're all data.
Well, Joe, you mentioned something in the beginning, and I'll answer your question, but you said something very important, and that is, we are data, and we are biological, in essence, collection sensor units. We receive data from the environment, and we process and synthesize that data to create a mental picture of what we perceive to be our environment. And you know, let me give you an example I used to give to some of my young agents. Okay, there are simply two words in the English language that if I put them together, depending on the separation, the hesitation between each word, they will mean opposite things. So let me give you an example. If I say to you, Ben, don't stop, what does that mean to you?
Don't do that thing. Okay. Stop doing that thing.
And let me ask you, Joe, if let's say you were giving me a wonderful neck massage, and I said, don't stop. What does that mean to you if I say don't stop?
I'm gonna keep on going, baby.
That's
You're
irresistible.
Keep on going, baby. That's right. So you have to be careful, even with saying words. Even the enunciation of those words have meaning. They have implicit meaning. So we have to be careful, and that's why it's important I don't share personal observations, because two different people may interpret the exact same words completely differently, completely opposite. And it's important that I, you know.
Yeah.
we draw that. For example, like if another way to say don't stop, right? If I'm being assaulted and I say don't stop, I want you to stop what you're doing, right? Or if you're going through, let's say, a stop sign, I said don't stop. Well, like you said, keep on going. Same exact words, opposite meanings, and so that's important. Now, as far as me personally, do I hear things and know things? I mean, well, sure, we all do. I mean, that was part of my job. But remember, this is a journey we all have to be on. It's not just your journey. It's not just my journey. It's everyone's journey, and we need to take the steps together. There is no shortcut. There's people, unfortunately, the way we are now in society, I hate to use the term "have it your way." If I go much further than that, I'll probably have to. It'll be like a plug for a company, so I'm not going to go there.
Whataburger, man. Burger King.
But we want things always done our way, and we want it now, right? Yeah. Instant gratification. This is not one of those topics where you want instant gratification. I don't have all the answers, nor if I did have all the answers, would I necessarily give them to you? Because that's not helpful. This is why I said disclosure is a process and not an event. I firmly believe the only reason why we are here today, as far as we are in this topic in the last 3 years, which is, by the way, further than we've gone in the last 70 years, is because this has been a process. It's been a deliberate, methodical process to have this conversation. And, there's people every day that come to me now and say, hey, Lou, a year ago I was having this conversation around the water cooler. Everybody thought I was crazy. Now they're coming up to me and saying, hey, can you tell me more about that? Right. Mm-hmm. So that's what's happening. That's what's happening. And, I'm not sure if I answered your question, but.
Yeah, definitely. You literally can't though. Like you can't answer it. Like you signed a thing and, everybody's going to want to know, but man, it must be hard not to let some information out. Like it would be so hard for me to not tell. Like, you don't trust me with anything.
I know this cool thing and I can't tell anybody. Okay. But you can tell us this. So Lou, you've seen our logo. So we have like a hovering 64 Impala on there. Can we make that happen?
Well, with yeah, sure. Force equals mass times acceleration. We put enough, explosive under that car, we can definitely make it levitate. That's not a problem.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Well, let's do it. And you just come with a ride along with us, man.
You're gonna have to share a seat with Cinnamon Terry in the background, though.
Hey, man, I love a 64 Impala, man, and I also love my Galaxies. That year of Galaxy and the Impalas were bar none some of the most beautiful, sporty cars I've ever seen in my life. I just love those classic lines, man. It's just it looked like they are sexy, man.
I had a 1970 and it was a boat. It was a 4-door and it was so nice. I loved it. It was like that seafoam green with like a hard white top on it. It's just absolutely sexy, man. I love that car.
So can I ask you guys a personal question?
Yeah, what's up?
Okay. So I'm going to start with you, Ben. Your most favorite car, not that you owned, the most favorite car ever for you. What is, if you could have any car in the world, what would it be?
Oh, dang. That's a great question. Okay. So my dad was a classic car collector growing up. So I've pretty much ridden in a lot of really awesome cars in my day. My favorite one was it was the Lincoln. I believe it was a 68 Lincoln
with the suicide doors.
With the suicide doors.
Yeah,
that one, bro. It's the same one in that's
Entourage. A Lincoln Continental, baby.
There we go. Yes, that one.
Absolutely,
yes, man. Black Lincoln Continental, dude. Woo!
Yeah. Maybe slam down 2 inches. Oh yeah. All right. So Joe, you're next in the barrel. I got to ask you, what's your favorite ride of all time?
Man, I'm a big fan of ZZ Top's Eliminator. Yeah,
dude. Yeah,
that's my jam for sure. That and I'm a real big I really like the the 60s to 70s versions of the Impala, and I really like these versions of like the Buick Regals.
Oh yeah.
And man, they're just really cool looking. I like big boat cars, some cruisers. I like big cruisers, but hot rods and just rat rods and stuff like that are awesome.
Well, you know what they used to say about those big cars, right? There's no replacement for displacement. So,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
Man,
having those big 500 cubic inch engines, man, you know, they weren't efficient, but
just
you know,
tanks.
yeah,
You just
So
rock
that-
back and forth
that's
at
a-
a stoplight for no
that's a
reason.
lot of physics sitting under that hood.
Yeah, and I loved it too because there was like, even though there were so many massive components, you could still fit your hands in there and work on it and like take it apart and do fun stuff. That's, you know, like with the new cars, it's just like it's all computers, and like unless you're like a real mechanic, you can't figure it out.
the spark plugs used to be like this fucking big, dude. Like,
The old ones, you could literally read a manual and be like, okay, so I wrenched this apart, you know, like, you know, you learn how to do your own Bondo and sanding and all that stuff. I mean, it was cool. Those old cars are where it's at, you know?
Yeah.
How about you, man? What's your all time go to?
Man, you know, I could never afford something like this, but if I could not worry about my security clearance for a day and I could go steal a car, it would be a 1964 and a half AC Shelby Cobra with a 429. I'm sorry, 427. Oh, sorry, didn't mean that with a 427.
The chat's going crazy.
Yeah, I know. They're like, wow, 429 with a 427 FE side oiler with a 6-pack on top. With for those who not are accustomed to a 6-pack, 3 2-barrel carburetors. Man, with that, with a 9-inch rear end, oh my gosh, at that point I will be ready to just call it quits and literally pull over the side of the road and die right there.
Yes, man. I had a buddy growing up, and his dad owned a garage. He had built his own garage. He was going to start his own business, and so he started taking cars for a while, and then he just turned into a drag shop. And so like they would work on drag cars out there, and it was so awesome, man. Just going out there and getting to like just open it up and see what, you know, piece it all together like a little puzzle.
Man,
big old tires,
coffee and gasoline, man. There is nothing like that in the morning, man.
yeah, it is awesome.
Dude, so we gotta ask Dan the newsman. He's waiting in the StreamYard. I gotta ask him what his favorite car. So let's bring in Dan. Do you want to do his intro song?
Dan Moran.
Dan Moran. Dan He's the newsman. Dan Warren. He's the newsman. He's talking UFOs, the government, and alien. Dan Warren. What's up, dude?
I'm glad you guys are doing the singing and not me. That makes a huge difference in the quality of the content of the show.
Dan, I almost jumped in, but I didn't want you guys.
Not?
I didn't want to cause you guys to lose any more viewers because my voice is. Yeah, at that point, it sounds like a dying cat. So it just
we all know
warm those pipes up.
We all know Lou can sing harmony, man. When he goes above my register, Lou kicks in the harmonies.
Yeah. You know, I'm a percussionist. I can play drums, but you do not want me on vocals.
Oh, snap.
Dude. Well, he's a vocalist and I'm a bass player. So Lou,
hey man,
forming a band.
Let's do it.
We can call ourselves Rush.
I might know somebody who does guitar too, but
yeah. Oh shit, that's awesome.
Dan, do you play guitar? Tell us you play guitar.
Air guitar is about as far as I can go with any musical instrument. It has
the
the word
hype-
air has
you're
to
the
be in
hype
front
man.
of it.
You're a hype man.
I was gonna say we can call Tom, but
yeah,
He's busy. That would be amazing, though.
that would be fun. Jam session, dude.
Yes, dude.
Let's make it happen.
well, we sure as hell know he can't sing, right? So just kidding. Just kidding.
Shots
Are
fired.
you?
That's so great.
It's like
dude.
my anthem to my growing up years, man. Oh, dude. Loved.
What's up, Dan? How are you doing today,
Yeah.
man?
I'm doing pretty good. Just really excited to get to talk to you finally, Lou. It's been I've actually had you answer some of my questions when you did the TTSA talks. So I've talked to you electronically so many times. It's just I'm so happy to be able to finally speak to you directly. It's an
Dan,
honor.
pleasure's mine. Pleasure's mine. My wife and I were just looking at your little promo for this a couple hours ago, and it's really my pleasure. It's really a thrill for me. I was telling these guys earlier that you guys are really part of this this grassroots movement, and you're the ones making this happen. And us either succeeding or failing is going to be a direct result of your involvement. So my hat's off to you. Thank you very much for what you're doing, Dan. It's making a difference. You and your supporters and your audiences and your friends, it's all making a big difference.
Well, it's not work when it's this much fun, is what I say. Like, I don't know about everyone else listening to this chat right now, but I enjoy this topic immensely. It's not like studying. I got an engineering degree. I had to study my butt off for this. I do not have to force myself to investigate the UFO phenomena. It is just something that is called to me my entire life. It is just something that is always, it's had a hold of me and will never let go. And it's enjoyable. It's a fun ride. And this is just a phenomenal time to be involved with it. And it is our opportunity to be involved with it because of people like you.
Well, I appreciate that, but again, I'll turn that right back around and say I'm involved in this because of people like you. So, there you go. I'll see you and raise you 5. How about that?
Love it, dude.
All right. Do we both get back rubs later on from?
Don't stop, dude. Don't stop.
You say don't stop.
Yeah.
Will we do it?
Hey, Dan, tell us about your little poster back there, dude.
Oh, that's something that somebody on UFO Twitter, of course, the mecca of all UFO information came up with. And I want to say thank you to whoever put that together, but I couldn't figure out who it was. But yeah, somebody's been dropping hints they're going to be running for president or something in the next couple terms. So I thought I'd go ahead and get a poster made.
Vermin Supreme.
Yeah. Well,
Free toothbrushes for everyone.
yeah, that's right. And mandatory goatees.
Yes.
Guys, I think sometimes, I try not to get frustrated, but when I see overt or outwardly displays of incompetence and obfuscation, and people neglecting to do what they're supposed to do, especially in a government role, nothing incenses me more. And dysfunction, there's a lot of places where it sits, and I don't support that. You guys work very hard. Everybody on this podcast works hard for their money. You pay a lot of tax dollars to hope that your government is doing the right thing, and most of the time it does, but sometimes it doesn't. And for me, nothing incenses me more than somebody who has taken a senior position of responsibility and instead sees it as a position of privilege. There's no room for that. And I guess sometimes when I don't get enough sleep, I get a little bit grouchy and but I would certainly, if things don't change in soon in our government, then it forces people like me to take action. And if it means having to run for an office somewhere to make a difference, I certainly would. It's not my first choice. I would love to do nothing more than fade off into the sunset and maybe retire and rest one day. But I'll damn sure will put my boots back on if I have to, if things don't change.
Who's your VP?
Well, I was thinking just more like Congress. I don't think I'd ever be president.
Let's aim high, Lou. Aim high.
Me and Ben could be security detail.
Yeah.
I could. You guys got it, man. Sure, absolutely. Put you in charge. Actually, you know what? You guys are going to be in charge of the motor fleet.
Yes.
So all those the beast, that big souped up Cadillac, and that's what we'll do. We'll put.
We may
Dan,
have to replace the Cadillacs with the Gran Torinos, man.
Hey, man, let's do it. Let's have a whole fleet of 1974 Bonnevilles. I don't care.
Yes.
And we'll put Dan as charge of our communications and strategy.
Yeah.
We got to get something with fins on the back, man. I don't know. 1956 Cadillac. I don't know, man. Yeah. Dude.
Actually, you know what I would do? I'll tell you guys. I probably shouldn't say this. I'm going to piss a whole lot of people off, but God forbid somebody in government ever asked me to go back into government and be a senior in a senior position, because it would be draconian. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tell all these SESs, you like that pretty little car that you have taking you all over the place and the limousine and the driver? No more. You get to drive your little Toyota Prius like everybody else.
All right.
No one's going to pay for that. And by the way, if you insist on having a car because you are senior enough, there's a Humvee sitting right out there, and you can go in that Humvee. How about that?
Yeah. There's no cushions or airbags. You can take it.
Nope. And by the way, you have to wear Kevlar when you go to your meeting over where the hell you're going. I'm telling you. And the parking situation where you have all these, because I grew up in that system where, you know, the higher rank you got, the closer you were to the Pentagon and all that. I would say, look, first come, first serve. You know, if you've got some GS9 or some sergeant that gets to work sooner than you, then guess what? They're going to get the park closer than you, and
awesome.
You can walk your way all the way to work. You know, no such thing as reserve parking and all that crap. I probably wouldn't be very popular. Let's just put it that way. There's a lot of things I would do differently.
You could ride a bike.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Why not?
Well, sweet ass bikes for everybody.
Yeah.
It could be a Schwinn, dude. Old Schwinns, man.
Nancy Pelosi, your bike's over there.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, you know, yours is way over there. Sorry, because, you know, you didn't come to work early enough.
Yeah. It's hilarious, dude.
So I just want to say, like, Dan, obviously, you know this, but Lou, Dan reached out to me and said, hey, I know you would love to have, we've been talking about having you on and reaching out. And Dan goes, dude, he's a gearhead. You should talk about, like, reach out to him via email, say something about, like, hey, so you want to come on the show and talk about cars for a little bit?
Yeah,
and
you got to beat him somehow, right?
And then, like, dude, so we have to thank Dan for that. So, Dan, thank you for that. And I know, you have such great questions, and your research is phenomenal. I know you have a couple of questions, and dude,
yeah, the first one, I haven't seen anybody challenge you on your gearhead status. It's just they're taking it as a known. So I'm going to ask you a question.
No, you got to earn it. I'm with you, brother. I'm with you.
I don't consider myself a gearhead, but a car guy. So I'm going to ask you something that means something to me, and it's going to tell me your preferences. But what is better, high beams on the tree or the floor?
Oh, come on, man.
What is it?
This is gray, not blonde, dude. on the floor. It's gotta be. Otherwise, it's, you know, it's after 1977. I mean, that was very few. Or, well, I could ask you a question. This is well before your time, but cassette or 8-track?
FM dials with the buttons you have to push really hard to get it to skip to the right station.
Actually, you have to pull first to set it, remember? And then push it in.
Oh, man.
Those are the old analog radios. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I remember those.
Yes.
Yep.
Man, I couldn't imagine the 8-track. Like, you're like, we have to listen to the whole thing.
No, you could actually press a button and it would automatically play the opposite side. So you only had to listen to half the song on the other side before you could replay your song. Yeah.
Oh,
so inconvenient. No wonder that the first thing Steve Jobs did was like, hey, let's like improve that.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, where I live out here in Wyoming, I've got actually, so my family calls me a freegan because not a vegan, but a freegan because I love buying cars for cheap. It's for me. I guess I get some sort of weird pleasure out of it because if the cheaper the car, the better I feel, and I can take someone's garbage and turn it to something great. So yeah, I've got an old dually here that I bought for $1. It had very low mileage on a 7.3 diesel Power Stroke, 1996. So it had second year it had even a turbo on it, and I actually wound up restoring it, and I used it to pull my RV all over the country, and I paid $1 for it. The truck I'm driving now, I still have it. The truck I'm driving now, I got for free. It was a 1998 Dodge Ram with the 365.9 in it. And it was being used as a garbage truck, and it was purple, literally Barney purple. And I got it for free, and it had, flies in the back. It's like, how much? But I got it for free, and so I restored it, and I shot it flat black. I put a 3-inch lift on it, and I use it now here in the mountains. And I got a big side exhaust on it. It is the baddest thing you've ever seen.
That's awesome.
And I got it for free.
And you're
Dude.
posting those on Twitter tomorrow or tonight?
Yeah, seriously.
I know.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you guys ever come out here, I got out here in Wyoming, everything is super cheap. So I got a house here that had the garage is actually bigger than the house pretty much, but it's a big, metal workshop. And I've got some old, I got a World War II and a Korean War Jeep. Because I love Jeeps. I love my Jeeps, man. Love them. And those little, those old war girls, we call them, won the war. And when you look at them, they're super simple. They really got just a tiny little 4-cylinder Hurricane block with either an F head or an L head. And it looks like a John Deere tractor motor. Really, it's the whole motor is literally probably this big.
Whoa!
But
fold down windshield, is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all had the fold down windshield, but they're just so great because you can. There's no restrictions out here. You can drive anywhere the heck you want to go.
That's cool.
Put the windshields down and stick your legs out on the side and just it's total freedom.
That's sick. That is awesome.
My dad had a Jeep Commando growing up. It was the sand gold color, man.
Man.
I actually learned how to drive on that thing, dude. It was a super fun little car.
And I'll tell you, they're going for a lot of money now. A lot of those old AMC, American Motor Company vehicles, before they were sold and rebranded, are actually going for a lot of money now.
Yeah.
Just about everything's going for a lot of money now. Anyway, go to Lowe's and it'll verify that.
Seriously,
that's true. Yeah, lumber's gone through the roof. I mean, no pun intended, but it really has. It's gotten very expensive. I'm doing a little project here, and I went to a local place to pick up some lumber, and I couldn't believe it. I said, "No, I'm buying 2x4s. I'm not buying steel. I-beams."
Yeah.
You must have something wrong. You have a couple decimal places incorrect here.
Yeah, it's insane. I do like landscaping and like everything. I mean, we're talking lumber, metal, plants, like everything is so expensive. Like literally last year to today, it's like 200% more cost.
Yeah,
literally in like a year. It's just insane to watch that happen. You're like, whoa, that's nuts.
Are you guys using in your landscaping like backhoes and things like that, or is it mostly?
Yeah. Yeah,
so what are you using? I got to ask. Are you using Kubota? What type of?
We use a deer and a ditch witch.
Oh, yeah, both look really good. Wow.
I thought it was a Ford, man. There ain't no Ford on there.
No.
Shit.
But it's like high end stuff. So we do like 100-yard like waterfalls like off cliffs and stuff. It's pretty nuts. So building materials have went up like a lot. But
so Dan, I got to ask you, man, which I've asked already Ben and Joe what their favorite car is. I know you're an engineer, but and this will tell me a little bit about kind of how you think. What's if you could have any car, forget about price, you were king for a day. What is the one car you can only get one, but you could have it forever? What's the one car you would get?
Am I a single king for the day, or am I a married king for the day? How about I'm going to answer that as married because I want to stay married. So I'm going to have to go with like a 1970. Yeah, let's stay with 72. A K5 Blazer with a removable top. That's the ideal vehicle for me. I have a 1988 Ford Bronco right now that I've restored. But man, the grills on those K5 Blazers, that was it. Oh man,
sexy ride, man. What do you have in the Bronco? Is that a 302 in there? Or what do you got?
302. Yeah. And I took it. I did what you did. I got it off. I work at a university. I got it off a college student for low and just put a little bit of heart and effort into it, and it's refurbished and looks sparkling brand new.
That was one of the first years
they help me work on the engine sometime, though.
They did, yeah. Anytime, come up here, man. We'll put it in the shop. Did that have fuel injection, or was that still carbureted?
It's EFI. So it's
one of the first years of EFI. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I mean, it's better. It's I had an old '84 Mustang that had a 302, but at the time, super anemic engine, 174 horsepower. It had, that old Duraspark ignition system. So I ripped the motor out and I wound up putting some really super hot engine in it. And, I didn't do it right. These are the lessons you learn as a kid, right? When you're a gearhead. So that little unibody was never designed really to have a whole lot of horsepower unless you really tie it down, subframe supports and cross beams and all that. You know, you have the struts, the tower struts, and you have to brace those down. I didn't do any of that. I just thought I could put a whole lot of horsepower in this car, and I could go.
I didn't do anything.
And I didn't do any of it, none of it. No. And so I remember after the first month, I noticed that the car wasn't riding right. In fact, the whole car was kind of lopsided. And I remember getting to a traffic light, and God, how embarrassing! I don't even know if I should say this, but I was trying to impress a member of the opposite sex that happened to be, across from me. And so
a king looking for a queen.
Yeah. And so in this case, I gave it gas, and all of a sudden I heard this big kabang. And two of my windows blew out because the body had twisted so bad that the windows blew out of the car.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah. So let's just say I was single that night. I didn't. I failed in my mission.
You were like, so were you still on, or like,
Yeah. You like a convertible?
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that's terrible.
So some of life lessons, right?
Man, yeah, I've had a window broken out in my car when I was downtown, and it was actually in my Impala. Somebody had taken a massive rock and threw it through my windshield, and it was really shitty because the car was unlocked. So like, I wish. And
just open the door.
Seriously, and the first time they missed and they hit the body and put a giant dent in it, and then they smashed the windshield. It's like the front windshield is like one of the biggest pieces on the whole car, and you completely missed it. You hit the car, and the doors were unlocked, and they stole all my music,
Oh, your
my
snacks,
radio,
your Slim Jims, dude.
my beef jerkies. I no beef jerky on
There's
the
so
ride
many
home.
gushers in there, man.
All my little odor trees, they're gone. Gone forever.
Everything.
Dude, what is it about? Like,
All they left was these parking tickets in my glove box.
you ever notice, like, you never see just one odor tree? There's always like multiple. It's like once one loses its smell, you just keep adding more like odor trees.
Yes.
You ever notice?
It's such a pain in the ass to get it on and off because it gets stuck on that little hook in the back. That's why you just
Back in the day for us as young agents, it was kind of a thing for us when you saw a car rolling down with a whole lot of those odor trees. You were kind of like, okay,
They were,
trying to cover the smell of something else that probably at the time was a bit frowned upon.
then it smells like new car smell and weed. Like,
Yeah, right. Rich, and you're kind of like, I think I prefer the weed smell better than the new car, but yeah, it's it was funny. Those are times I guess we still do the same things today, don't we? With those odor trees and whatnot.
Oh yeah, yeah. They have this really neat stuff now. It's like man, it evaporates the smell like crazy. It's wild.
Osium.
I think that's what it is.
Snowsium, dude. Or you just wait till Christmas and bring the Christmas tree inside, and then like, dude, it's
So-
fresh.
So I've got a question for you guys, a very serious question, because I'm trying to understand the mind of one of my daughters. I have one daughter that's
no answers. No
Yeah,
answers. Here.
this is
Can't
Dan's,
figure out women.
Well,
Never
Dan,
will.
honestly, this is how I mean, if you ever want proof that there's alien life in the universe, just have a kid, have a daughter, and you notice at 12
I
years
got
old,
two.
something happens to them. They get abducted and they get replaced by something, and when they're 21, all of a sudden they come back, and you're like, where the hell were you? Oh my gosh, But
I got one that's 11 right now. You're scaring me, Lou. I'm gonna have nightmares.
Well, then you're about to experience this too. My question is, why do some young people? Why does their automobile also become their home, their classroom, and their dumpster? I went to go visit my daughter just not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, on the East Coast, and I noticed as I'm sitting in the seat, I'm hearing all this crunching and scrunching. There's a styrofoam cup, and there's a big gulp and a Slurpee, and they're not even empty. They still have like Slurpee inside of them, and there's all sorts of paper. And it literally looks like a hamster's nest, like literally like a hamster's nest. And I said, "Sweetheart, why don't you clean your car out?" She's like, "Oh, I did yesterday, Dad." I'm like, honey, there's not even enough room for your mother to sit next to me at the airport. We had to put her in the trunk. I mean, this is
She said,
why?
"I'm not done with that. The flavor's still there in the Slurpee."
Yeah, exactly. Is that common, or is that just something that I'm experiencing as a dad, and I'm just, I just have a weird family.
I don't think your daughters will ever live up to your car aficionado expectations like you wanted to. They use them as tools. They don't use them as means of transportation, or I don't know what I'm trying to say, but they just don't treat them like we do. They're not important.
There's literally 3 bras in the car.
Man,
Why? I don't understand.
Like, why are they taking their bar from the car, man? Like,
Yeah, I mean, look, that's clothing. That's not even. I mean, understand maybe
it's a mobile home
and a
Yeah.
Starbucks.
That's what it is.
I mean,
That's
it's
what it
like,
is.
and in the winter it's a refrigerator.
Yeah,
Well,
and of course, the excuse is, well, Dad, I was at the beach.
Last week.
actually, that's a pretty good. Yeah, that's a good excuse.
What's crazy
Yeah.
about this is that Lue is talking about a 12-year-old female, and he described my vehicle perfectly just now. There's
Yeah.
Dr. Pepper bottles everywhere.
Yeah.
I've never sat in Joe's passenger seat.
There's like
Ever.
taco boxes.
Yeah,
and
right.
Clothes.
So it's not just
and-
my daughter.
It's not just your daughter. Yeah.
Oh,
No.
okay.
I think it's is your daughter like a creative type person?
Yes, very.
That's probably it, man. Like creative. For
We
me,
don't have time to clean.
for me,
man.
dude, like my wife's side of the house is like just pristine and beautiful. Mine is chaos. But anytime like she is like, I'm gonna clean something, I can't find anything. If it's in its spot, I can't find it, and I'll look for a long time, and she'll be like, "It's where it's supposed to be." But
I literally can't get into my daughter's car without a hazmat suit. I went in there the other week and I found a missing kid that had been gone for like a year. It was just sitting in the back seat. I'm like, hey, who are you? Yeah, I mean,
get
it's
reward money off that, man.
What
Yeah,
are you
it's-
doing?
yeah. How'd you get here? It's insane.
I don't think your daughter's going to name her firstborn after you after this conversation. I think that's right out.
God, I don't want to talk about grandkids. I can't even imagine.
Oh, man.
this is how you know God has a good sense of humor. Because I do. I mean, I obviously I joke around a lot with my kids. I love my daughters. They're the greatest accomplishment that I'll ever have in my life. And they're incredible human beings. We've got a really, really good relationship. But I do, you worry as a father, as a parent for your kids, especially in today's day and age and society. As far as grandkids are concerned, one day that probably will happen. Hopefully not till she's like 35 or 40, I hope. But,
All right.
It's like every father's thing.
This is an opportunity for me to ask a question I've been pondering that I want to see what you think about. All right. Say you do have a grandchild, goes to college, day one, or they go to History 101. What is the textbook going to say about the current time that we're living through right now, from 2017 when you left the Pentagon to and please speculate going forward? Like, what is the history books? What is it going to say about the current situation we are living through and witnessing firsthand?
I hope it says something like, in 2017, America woke up and the world began to talk about UFOs seriously. And we entered into a new understanding of who we are and our species and what it means to be a species living on this planet. And oh, by the way, there's some crazy guy named Lue, and he doesn't really matter much. That's kind of what I hope happens, because I don't. This is not about me. I mean, in all seriousness, I've said this over and over again. It's not about me. I don't want it to be about me. This is about the collective journey for all of us. I don't want anybody reading a history book and seeing my face in it. If that happens, then once again I failed in my mission, because this is not about me. This is about us, and I want all of us to be able to reap the rewards of this. This is I think an epiphomatic moment for us as a society, maybe as a species, that's I guess how it will. well, honestly, they're probably not going to be using textbooks by then. They'll probably have some sort of, but
That's a good point.
yeah, that's kind of what I hope. I hope it's about our greater collective understanding of the great unknown. And I hope I really do hope that we can see this as an opportunity to come together as not just a society, but maybe as a world. I've told people before, I've spent so much time with these hands in my job, ripping people apart. And I hate to say that, but that's what warfare is about. I'd like to spend the remainder of my life trying to put people back together. And maybe this is a way of doing that.
So we all are going on this journey individually, but together. There's always a doubt in my mind when I talk about the subject, and that I'm wrong, because no one wants to be wrong. It's embarrassing. I don't want to waste my effort looking in the wrong direction. On a podcast you had with Max from Amsterdam, who is doing a bang up job right now.
Yes.
There was you concluded the first podcast you had with him by congratulating him for being on the right side of history. That was a moment of relief for me. Like I actually exhaled when you said that to him, because it felt like validation to me in some way that you're sticking your neck out there, and that's what you're starting to tell people, because that's what I want to start telling people. Do you remember the moment when you went from being a skeptic about this situation to on your journey, you then flipped and realized that you were now on the right side of history?
I do, but let me also preface this, Dan, because I think let me be just for a moment a little bit retrospective here. It's okay to be wrong. I've learned most of my lessons in life because I've done things the wrong way first. I made a lot of mistakes in my life, and you only learn to do things right most of the time when first you learn how to do them wrong. There was an old saying, when I was a kid, my father used to tell me this story about I come from an immigrant family, Cuban family, about a Cuban swimmer who won the Olympics, and he was being interviewed after winning the gold medal, and the reporter came up and said, "Oh, oh my goodness, you're such an amazing human being. You have this gold medal, and you have apparently the record for winning the most swim races in the world. How does it feel?" And what he said was, "Well, I appreciate that, but I don't think you understand nor maybe know the history. Besides having the most wins of anybody on the planet, I also happen to have the record for losing the most than anybody on the planet. And I just never gave up." And so I think therein lies the lesson. I want to make sure that it's always good to be on the right side of history, but it's also okay to make mistakes, because that's how we keep ourselves from making those same mistakes in the future, whether it's as a citizen or as a husband or a wife or a father or a mother. That is part of the human condition. We're going to make mistakes, and failure is part of success. You will fail if several times if you really want to succeed. And there's a reason why Thomas Edison called his patent for the incandescent light bulb patent number something, filament number, I think it was like 1,000. Don't hold me to it. It was like something ridiculous, like filament number 1,532. And the reason why he called it that is because he had failed something like 1,531 times before he finally got it right. But he got it that one time right, and look what happened, right? And so that's important. One other thing I'll leave you with here is it's about human sacrifice. And when I say human sacrifice, it's about sacrificing one's own desires and needs and wants for the greater collective good of everybody else. Again, maybe it's a Latin thing in me. I tend to talk in analogies, but let me share one more with you. There was a great artist that was unveiling his latest masterpiece, and after years and years and years of working on this stone masterpiece, he turns out and he goes to the big unveiling, and all of a sudden he pulls back the big blanket that's been covering it, and everybody starts cheering and saying, "Oh, look at this wonderful masterpiece! Look at the angles! Look at the curves! This is gorgeous! This is incredible!" And they look over, and the artist is absolutely apoplectic, crying on the floor. And they said, "What's wrong? This is a great day for you. This is an incredible masterpiece." And the artist looked at them and they said, "You've completely missed the point. That's not the masterpiece. You see below all the ash and the chunks of marble and the blood that's inside that marble and the sweat. That's the masterpiece. What you see here is just what's left behind from the masterpiece. The masterpiece is actually the sacrifice and the dedication it took to create that. But if you think that the marble itself is the masterpiece, we're missing the point of the creation itself. And I think for me that's very important, because all of you right now having this conversation with me are sacrificing time away from something else you could be doing. And instead you're with me here today, and your audience and those watching this. That says a lot. There is sacrifice there, because you are choosing to do this instead of something else that maybe you should be doing instead. And that is important. That for me is what gets me waking up every morning to do what I do. It's because this is truly a collective effort. Everybody's giving a piece. And that's why I do what I do, because you are doing what you do, and Ben and Joe are doing what they do, and your audience does what they do, and they're having the conversation. They're keeping this conversation alive. That's what inspires me to do what I'm doing. So in very much the same way, we are only, and this goes back to the original conversation we had at the beginning of this, I'm only here today doing what I'm doing because you are here today doing what you're doing. And that's a fact.
There's something to be said about that, Lou. I mean, that was beautiful. I think what we're all kind of on the tip of our tongue, we feel it. We feel this energy coming up, that it's almost like this, the answer to a question we already know on the inside is that this is all leading to the fact that we don't know who we are as conscious beings. Like, whether it be energy, where we come from, who made us, why are we here? I think it all comes down to consciousness and that connection between experiencing reality. And where that is headed is we've made things so granular, like, oh, it's a craft. It looks like this. It's made of this material. Secrets are guarded by these people. But I think that's all a distraction from the true message. I mean, this is just me just kind of speaking off the top of my head, but
absolutely.
I think what the message, Lou, is a message of love and understanding and a connection between consciousnesses, and realizing that we're all one thing. Like, I don't know if I'm like way off, but
no, I don't think you are. I think we all are connected, and we are connected in more ways than one. I mean, we are all frankly stuck on this giant UFO we call planet Earth, and we're all stuck on it together. And there's nothing that you do on this planet that does not impact or affect another living organism on this planet. We're all sharing this planet together, and every resource that we have, it's all interconnected. We are interconnected. Us having this conversation, we're using language and words to convey meaning and thought. But you are able to understand and, in essence, read my mind based upon some sounds that I'm uttering, and you're interpreting and translating them into a thought in your mind and an emotion. And in turn, I'm doing the same thing when you speak, and it's the same thing when anybody speaks. And so we all are connected. We're connected very intimately in just about everything we do in life. And I don't think we realize that. There's nothing more tragic in warfare than having to take another human being's life because we are connected. It's I always say, to my daughters that the angels cry every time we take our fellow man's life from the planet. I'm not saying that it's not necessary sometimes, because you have to defend and protect the things that you love and you hold dear. It's just a pity that we have to be in that situation to begin with, right? It's a shame that we can't figure this out without having to kill each other. Why can't we just have a conversation? And in some cases agree to disagree. Now, obviously that's not always the case. There's times you have to behave violently.
Right.
But I think that's a last resort. And I think if you do it begrudgingly. You don't ever do it because you want to. You do it because you have to. And that's my perspective anyways.
So you mentioned that we're all connected. All of us are connected on this planet at this time, but I also am a history buff, and I believe that we are all connected to our ancestors, and it's human history. It's not one person's history. And my thoughts are that this phenomenon, whatever it is, has been interacting with our ancestors in some way, shape, or form. More so now, it seems that we've discovered some things that go boom, really, really, really big. Are there any artwork or any information from past civilizations, ancestors, that you find highly compelling that would lead you to believe you've been interacted with?
There's a tremendous amount of anecdotal information that exists. I'm not going to go too far down the road of speculation because I don't want to mislead anybody. Obviously, my personal views and opinions are just that. They're mine. And I don't expect anybody to subscribe to that, and nor would I necessarily want that to happen. But I think, let me put it in the words of my good friend Chris Mellon. We spend millions of dollars each year looking for microbial life on Mars. We spend millions of dollars each year looking for technical signatures, radio signatures from within our galaxy of intelligent life. We've been here for approximately 4.5 billion years already. Well, let me ask you this: what if intelligent life already found us first?
It makes sense.
Yeah. Or they have been here for a long time. I mean, the ocean is huge, guys. I mean, come on. I believe that there could be, whether or not it be under the water or on the surface. I mean, there are places in the oceans that we can't go. I'm not asking for any divulgence of information here, Lou. I'm just this is what I do in the podcast. I'm like, what if this? But I mean, there has to be a possibility that there's been a civilization on Earth.
And it's not even physical. I've said that. I may have said this once before, but I don't say it very often. Let me, for just a moment, put something into perspective. We have 5 fundamental senses for which we interact with our environment. Okay, touch, taste, hear, smell. That type of stuff. And if it falls outside of those primary senses, we can't interact with it. We can't even perceive it. Right now, we know there's a reality all around us that we can't perceive. There's Wi-Fi signals, and there's cosmic radiation, and there's gamma radiation. There's neutrinos coursing through our body, and there's GPS signals and radar coming from the airport that's going in and out of our body. And yet, we have no idea. Go out on a beautiful starry night one night and take a look at the heavens, and you're going to say that is magical. Now, look at that through a radio telescope. Right? Look at it and look at the infrared spectrum and the ultraviolet spectrum. And all of a sudden you see things now in the heavens that you could never see before. And they're right there. They're real. They're just as real as you and I having this conversation, but we don't have the ability to interact or to perceive it because we're not equipped as a biological species to receive and interpret that information. And then furthermore, let's look at the human being and where we are on the scale of the universe. Okay. So I can go in this direction, 13.5 billion light years to the farthest known portion of the visible universe. And I can go in this direction, 13.5 billion light years. So that's a distance of 27 billion light years from end to end of the visible known universe. And I'm stuck right here in the middle, right? And as big and as awesome as it may be, ready? From a scale perspective, when you look at the size of an atom, 1 times 10 to the minus 26, there is an equally, if not greater in scale, there's a universe just as big, if not bigger, inside every one of us going down. And the only thing that we can ever truly interact with is something maybe 5 to 50 feet in front of our face. So by definition, 99.99999% of the universe is beyond our ability to not only interact with, but to even perceive. And so for us to think that everything in the universe and all understanding and knowledge is going to fit right here in this neat little tiny narrow spectrum of what we perceive, you're fooling yourself. That just doesn't make sense, because the most of reality is it will never be able to interact with. And so, is it possible there are species out there, intelligent life, that live beyond that little tiny narrow spectrum? Well, the probability is very high that is indeed possible.
Well, I feel like you're describing the grandiose nature of the universe and shrinking down into the quantum aspects of our existence.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where your conversations about quantum physics have been the most fascinating things for me. I don't know what to ask you about that, except can you elaborate on anything quantum physics related that you find compelling? Like, I read Chains of the Sea and the different types of creatures that would interact with the lead character, and were they more or less quantum creatures that he was trying to get at? Is that how you took it?
I took it as that the universe and nature is far more wondrous than most of us give it credit for or can perceive. The world is much older than we can appreciate. And there have been existences on this planet and species that have come and gone. In fact, we're the minority. In fact, even from a human perspective, 94% of all humanity has come and gone. That's a lot. That's a big number. We're really a rather small minority right now of everybody who's alive like this very moment. So I think it's important that we don't let our own intellectual hubris get the best of us, because we are a species that likes to have answers. We're a species that likes to put nature in a nice, neat little box and have all these neat little definitions of what life is. And every time we do that, we make a mistake, because nature doesn't really care about our definition of her. She's going to do what she does. And one thing we've learned time and time again is that every time we think we have an answer, we don't. And life shows us another side of her. Nature shows another side of her that we weren't expecting. As far as quantum mechanics, it's I think it's very important. It's definitely beginning to I think become more and more accepted that the quantum models are actually probably the most accurate models, especially not just explaining the very, very small of the universe, but potentially even the very, very large. There's other very interesting, if you know how to look at the universe and I've always said before, the truth whispers, but if you listen, you can hear her speak. The universe has some interesting blueprints, if you know where to find them, and they're consistent throughout everything and anything. Let's take the world of fractals, for example, where until recently it seems obvious, but we never really appreciated it. You look at the path that a river takes down a mountain, and it turns out that is the same pattern that lightning takes in the sky. It's the same pattern that a tree, when it's growing from its trunk, it's the same pattern of tree. It's the same pattern that we have in our lungs and the capillaries in our lungs. It's the same, if you will, patterns that the neural connections and the synapses make in our brains, and the connections between neurons, which happens to be the same pattern that we see in the large supercluster galaxies of the universe. So from the very, very small, to include the pathways of our neurons, to the super, super huge, large, millions of light years across, we're seeing the same pattern. And that's not even just physical, because we're seeing it even when you look at a linked analysis and diagram of human behavior and how we interact with people and those relationships. That too is a fractal pattern. So when you see those type of things in the universe, from the very, very large to the very, very small, and all of nature abides by it, you then have to realize that you're looking at something that's very deliberate and very significant. And Again, I don't want to geek out too far on this.
It sounds like you're talking about source code almost.
Yeah.
Like it's the computer programming language for everything is what my interpretation of quantum physics.
Yeah,
So-
it is. Go ahead, guys. Sorry about that.
Oh, I was going to say, so all of these synchronicities with nature and the human body and also non-human body, I feel like we have to agree that human, there's a lot of ideas out there that we are the aliens, right? So we were created and evolutionized, and we were created by another person. There's all kinds of theories out there, but I feel like that's a good reminder that a lot of the same things that happen in our bodies, the reflections that we see in nature, it really kind of grounds me in a way that it makes me feel a little better. Like, oh, we're not so different. Like, we are a part of this universe. We're not so much of an outsider. We are just much as part of this universe as the next animal next to us. So I always find that like a comforting fact.
Yeah, I mean, it's you see it in the world of random chaos as well. I mean, what seems at our level to be random and chaotic, really, in the grand scheme of things, there's a rhythm, there's a pattern to everything. I don't want to get too philosophical because I'm certainly not qualified to lead a philosophical conversation, but there seems to be this ebb and flow in the universe, and you have these distinct patterns and rhythms, if you will, or frequencies that occur. And random chaos is another one of those little aha moments, like fractal universe, where you begin to realize what seems random and disparate at the micro level really is quite orderly, and it's not so random after all, to include human behavior and patterns and seasons to everything, even leaves on a tree. The fingerprint of a human finger, there's symmetry there. Even in the chaos and the noise, there is still order. And once you begin to see that in nature and see that in life and see that in human behavior, things tend to make maybe a little bit more sense. We realize we really are part of something much bigger, much greater.
Love that.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom, so I'll be right back.
Oh, go for it, man. Go for it.
All right. I know that there's a lot of people that have written in questions, and I know that one of the top ones is, have you been able to review Jeremy Corbell, who should be a guest on this show? Call them Jeremy.
We've only messaged that guy like 50 times.
But have you been able to look at the radar data and that he put out today, and can you interpret it for us? Because it looks like a video game to me. I'm just not versed in what radar data means.
It is real radar data. I have to be very careful to comment, because here's the reason why. The government has already acknowledged it's from a government system. I still have a security clearance. I am not authorized to talk about government business unless I'm authorized to talk about government business like that. This is a very specific radar system taken from a very specific location at a very specific time, and it contains very specific data. And I want to be careful I don't cross that line and to start offering my analysis of U.S. government property, because the government hasn't decided to talk about it. They simply said yes, they acknowledged it, that it's real. And therefore, that's as far as they're willing to go, and I have to respect that.
Okay, well, I guess I'm not asking for like a technical review of it, but I'm just, can you help me put it in context for me, the significance of that footage? What does that mean to the current situation we're in?
Yeah, so let me say, any radar data is a data point, quite literally. You are looking at something that is reflecting a signature from the electromagnetic spectrum. Okay, you are shooting, whether it be microwave or X band, K band, Y band, electromagnetic frequencies at an object, and that object then is bouncing back, reflecting, just like visible light when you see a plane in the sky, is reflecting back a signal at a particular frequency. And that's how the systems work. And the more of these systems, when you have an array versus just a singular radar, but an array of these radars, now you have multiple systems doing the same thing. So you have redundancy and you have accuracy. Okay, so that's what most people don't understand. This is not just a radar system. It's a collection platform that, yes, it takes in radar, but it's also taking a lot more data too. It's not just that. And what you're seeing is a very real object that is providing a return back to the radar system. So it is it's not a ghost in the machine. It's not some sort of atmospheric or weather anomaly. It is a real, genuine object. And then what you have to do is make sure that information correlates, hopefully, with other data, such as gun camera footage or eyewitness testimony. So when the pilot or the observer says it was going, I was doing a vector of 355, and then all of a sudden did a left-hand turn and went to 270 instantly, you can be able to corroborate that on the radar if that's what you're indeed seeing, right? And so now you have the data backing each other up and whatnot. Again, I know I'm not answering your question. I'm doing it deliberately because I have to be careful. I can't talk about that specific incident. So what I'm doing is talking in more general terms and how these systems work and the fidelity and the accuracy and the reliability of these systems, which are some of the best on the planet. A lot of these radars now are taking data not just from their radar system itself, but they're incorporating feeds from ground-based radar and airborne radar and other radar to give you a common operating picture, right? Think of a lot of different radars looking at the same thing at the same time. You get better telemetry and whatnot. So that's really what these systems do.
So Lou, you talk about the security clearance and stuff, still being able, still holding that, not that you ever would, but can you be like, hey, can you guys have this back? Can you give that back to them? Can you just be like, hey, I don't really want this. I don't want to hold this anymore. Can you guys take it?
Yeah, I've tried. That didn't go so well.
Oh man, they're like, no, that's yours. You have to hold on to it.
Yeah,
it's your responsibility. But I don't want it anymore.
Yeah, it's a lifelong commitment.
Oh man,
unfortunately, yeah. And I wouldn't violate that. And people say, well, but you're doing it for the good of humanity. But I'm not. I can't break the law to enforce the law. That's not the way it works. And so for me, that oath that I took, that security oath, wasn't just an oath to my boss or my supervisor or even my government. It was an oath to you. And it's like a marriage. And if I'm willing to break that oath, even just one time, then it doesn't mean anything. Then at that point, then I might as well not have a security clearance at all and talk about anything and everything. And so, it's not like, well, you can just break it this one time. It doesn't work that way. It's a sacred oath. It's a promise that I've made to the American people. And I can't break that oath to the American people that I've made simply to tell them something. I truly believe we are where we are because it's working the way it's supposed to work. I haven't had to violate my security oath, and we're still having this conversation. And every day new information is coming out. So that's really it's a very delicate balancing act. It's like threading the needle every day, because I know every day I wake up and I'm talking to media, there's someone back at the Pentagon, trying to play gotcha and trying to demonstrate that I violated my security oath somehow.
Right.
And that stops me from talking, because at that point, then they can put me in jail, and then now what?
So then on the flip side, if you still have the security clearance, can you go somewhere and be like, hey, tell me about that? I still have a security clearance.
If I have a demonstrated need to know, absolutely.
Has Tom DeLonge taken that same oath?
No.
No. Okay. All right. So, he's definitely not. He's obviously connected, but he hasn't a security clearance.
He does not have a security clearance.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
All right.
Just a lock on his door.
Just lock it.
He's got a Ring doorbell camera.
But he does play the guitar really, really good.
He does. He's a good dude.
He's a great guy. Yep. Super guy. Fun guy.
Yeah.
He's done a lot for this conversation too.
For sure.
A lot of where we are began with him.
I kind of wanted to bring this up at the beginning of the thing, but I felt like it was maybe too soon. But we've definitely given TTSA a bunch of shit. You know, I mean, I'll admit that. I mean, everybody that listens to our show knows that at the beginning, because we just didn't know. We just felt like, oh man, I want to know. And you know, maybe there's some jealousy, and maybe there's some like, oh man, why don't they just let us know? And whatever. But they really did start. You guys did start the conversation. I mean, it became more in the public than ever. And you could go a lot of ways.
We were never intended to finish the conversation. The conversation began, but I don't ever want people to confuse that all of a sudden it makes us the authority on the subject, because it doesn't.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I might have misspoke on that, Joe. I mean,
no, you didn't. You didn't. I just wanted to make it clear, because I think people say, well, you guys started the conversation and, you know, it's all because of you. Well, we started the conversation, but it's not all because of us. It's because of the collective, everyone out here that's doing it.
Yeah, it was like it was the collection of like heavy people that the general public would consider to be that credible source, right? It was just such a collection of those type of people that was able to like kind of spark the conversation. It's not like starting it, like the conversation has been going on forever. Yeah. This is just the first time we were able to have this collection of like people you would assume in the know, right? That would seem to be credible. And so, yeah, obviously that's a big impact. Now, the rest of the story doesn't really even matter. The key point to that was that, yes, it did get more stuff, you know, the ball rolling a little bit, and it did help a lot. Now, what you think about it other than that on the in-between stuff, I mean, that's all personal opinion, you know?
Look, I've told people sometimes you need a bullhorn in a crowded room. And that's exactly what TTSA was. I've often told, you know, people say, well, isn't Tom a little bit like a bull in the china shop? And I said, no, actually, Tom's like a hand grenade in the crystal punch bowl. But sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need that I don't want to say destructive. What I want to say is disruptive force to get the attention of people. And again, there is a difference between being destructive and being disruptive.
Yeah.
And TTSA was a disruptive force at a time that I think was needed.
Yeah.
All right. So I got to ask for one favor real quick, Lou.
Yeah.
When you left TTSA, I feel like you quick shifted from first to second gear, and it caught me off guard. I thought we had lost you, and I was so worried about what was coming next. So when it's time to shift from second to third, can you give us a little bit of a heads up so we know to brace ourselves? When is that shift coming?
You know, as a gearhead, guys, I'll tell you, you know, third is never far behind from second. You know, as your RPM increases and increases, when you start hearing that engine really start to whine, you can expect third gear is coming real soon.
I've been hearing a lot of whining lately, so I think that we're in a good.
Well, you know,
that's nice, Dan.
There you go. You know, we've got a 6-speed transmission in this baby, so you know, we're everything is moving along on schedule per plan. Don't read too much into it. Schedule. See, Lue's got some great master plan, and he's working on. That's not what I mean. What I'm saying is simply that hopefully people can appreciate now we're very deliberate in what we do. This is not haphazard. This is not just, you know, Lue thinks. We have some very smart people, like Chris Mellon. I've got some people that are working with me, very good people. I'm not going to say their last names because I don't want to dime them out, but I've got folks like Jake and Jess and Sean who are very helpful. Chris Mellon, who everybody does know, and a few others that have been helping with the deliberate implementation of disclosure, talking to elements in our Congress, talking to elements, our senior leaders in the executive branch, talking to our foreign friends and allies, talking to the media, and ultimately talking to the American public. It's you know, this is not instant gratification. This is not going to happen tomorrow. But I think if we just take a deep breath and look back over the last 3 years, you know, we've come pretty far up the mountain already. I mean, we're getting a pretty damn good view right now of the horizon that we've never really been able to enjoy before. Now it's no time to quit. We can't just sit there, kick our feet up, and be like, we did it, because we didn't. But we're definitely a lot farther now collectively than I think we were just a few years ago.
Without a doubt. No, there's no question about that.
No,
We are light years ahead of where we were 3 years ago.
Absolutely.
It's almost as if like, I mean, I'm sure I probably heard this somewhere, but like COVID kind of just like wore us down to, and this past year has been so crazy that like, there's the Pentagon's saying that there's aliens, and the government saying, yeah. We're so desensitized by it. It's almost like, it's a kind of perfect timing. And it almost, I mean, you did say yourself, like, this is very deliberate. It does make sense. There is no mass panic, which is great.
Right.
Like everybody that's been into this stuff, like everybody probably listening to the show, man, we'd be fine. But back, circle back to the masses. Yeah. If they one day abruptly heard about it, saying, the government says that there are things in the skies that we have no idea where they come from, or the technology that they use to do the things they do, people would freak out. Like, and it makes sense.
They're like, no, it's cool. I can stay inside.
It's like, I can stay inside.
I think you said it correctly, that there's this battle fatigue. People have been so overstimulated with COVID and a new election, a new administration, and all sorts of crisis du jour, that people are just kind of like, meh, which, is maybe not a bad thing.
Crisis du jour needs to be on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds delicious.
That's a new t-shirt, man.
I'll take 2 of those, please.
Yes. Lou, you're getting a t-shirt.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, since you've been on the show, you're now a Dr. Scientist.
Yes,
by the way.
officially.
That's the thing on our show.
Okay.
It's so we'll send you a t-shirt if we'll talk off air.
Dr. Scientist.
Yeah. The official Dr. Scientist t-shirt. Man, we're gonna have to put it. Well, your new nickname is gonna be Full Throttle, man.
Yeah.
Lou Full Throttle.
Man.
Full Throttle Elizondo, man, and just put Full Throttle on it, dude. For Lou.
I was told, I guess, was it Alex Dietrich? She said, I'm always pinged at 11 between, scale of 1 to 10. Lou's always at 11.
Yes. Hey, man, only certain things go to 11. We all know that. Yes, man. Dude, I mean, hey, so now that you're not doing the TTSA stuff, I mean, me and Ben, we've been doing some work lately, been kind of fooling around with, maybe starting our own little thing. And we want to see what you think about it, man. We're going to screen share it for you right now.
Okay.
It's pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie. I mean, we've put a lot into this. So let's see here. Got it? The screen share?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think so.
So we have
Can you
To the
see it?
Farts Academy, and we're talking about new propulsion systems and basically changing the world with our own gas.
I think you need more cowbell for sure.
Yes.
A little bit more, but at the end of it, we're going to be making gold records for sure.
Gold records.
We're unlocking potential. I mean, there's so much stuff that we have going on right now, and
This is what the website looks like right before the lawsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. No, I think you guys were good. I think it looks completely different than that other organization that has a similar name, but whose name we shall not mention.
Yeah.
You can get your Bachelor of Farts in Science at To the Farts Academy. You and Dan are more than welcome to be partners with Ben and I. And it'd be great to have you all on board.
Yeah.
And so what is it? What will the t-shirt say?
It will say TTFA. That's the most uncreative part of the whole thing.
We're always hiring. That's all.
Always hiring.
Yeah.
On the back of the t-shirt, it says now hiring.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah. That's
We like.
and it also says probably, danger, stand back 50 feet. So
Yeah.
I mean, we're changing the world. That's all I'm saying.
We're changing the world with the masturbation propulsion technology, and
there's all kinds of things that we have going on right now, and
they're outside the box thinkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, way outside the box. Yeah, gentlemen, I would not quit your day jobs just yet, but I think you might be onto something.
There's a lot of secrets that Ben and I can't talk about as well.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
We have our own clearance.
But if you ask us a question and we have to say no, we'll blink twice so you know that we're telling the truth.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so, what does blinking once mean?
That means no. That means I had an itch.
Well, I pass gas usually is when that's I blink
Oh God, Ben is blinking again.
Oh no, dude! It's been the entire show.
So, well, guys, I'm getting some sort of alert here. I guess someone said I've talked to you for 10 minutes over your time. I apologize for that. I don't know. I'm getting some little thing here on the bottom on my screen. So I don't know if I've gone over my time limit with you guys. I hope I haven't. But.
No, not at all, man.
I don't know where that's coming from. That's from us.
It's pretty free flow. Maybe you're booking people.
Oh, my mind is.
Yeah. They were like, "Oh, he's been talking too long now." You know,
these guys are
going about farts. No, get him off. Get him off.
Get him off. Alert. How convenient.
Convenient. Dang it.
Yeah.
I mean, we have fun with the subject, man. I mean, there's so much to take serious, and it is serious, man. But I mean, you have to laugh at some point. Like, we have to have a good time with it.
Yeah. I agree. I agree, and I think it's very original. If you start offering master's degrees in flatulence and whatnot, I think you may have something there.
I think we're on to something big. It's going to be the biggest thing since indoor plumbing. I can guarantee you.
Yeah.
It's been so good. But hey, man, we have a few questions that are popping up in the chat, sure. Man. One of them was
they've given me 5 more minutes, so I think we're good.
Okay, cool.
I've just been told 5 more. So
one of them was is there anything other than the human element about stuff that you've been involved in that keeps you up at night?
Oh my goodness. As it relates to this topic, I'm presuming.
Yeah.
That keeps me up. No, I mean, I don't get, I only get nervous if, you're pointing a gun at me. So that's really the only time I'm going to start to, get concerned from that perspective. But I do wake up every morning and, I try to take a pulse of what's going on. I don't sleep very much these days. My health is not as good as it used to be. I've been really neglectful of it. So I'm going to start trying to take care of that, try to get some more sleep. The problem is I still have a day job like you guys. So, I'm working a full-time job, paying my mortgage while at the same time, engaging the media while at the same time, trying to, assist the conversation and advise people in the government and whatnot. So it's, it's a lot of work. I'm not asking anybody to feel sorry for me. I mean, don't take it that way. I'm just simply saying that what keeps me up at night, I think, is the concern that I'm going to have to fight harder for the government to do what it's supposed to do. Elements in the government. I don't mean the whole government. What I mean are there's pockets of resistance that I've said before, and damn it, they're going to force me to root them out, and I don't want to do that. The last thing I want to do is start, run for Congress and start breaking China and the bookcases and throwing things around to fix things. But if that's what it takes, then I'll do it. I need to run for Congress like I need a hole in the head. But if that's the only way we're going to get stuff fixed, and not just this topic, not just the topic of UAPs or UFOs, there's a lot of things that need to be fixed in our government. There's a lot of things that we're being neglectful of. A lot of things we're wasting your money, your tax dollars, doing things that are a complete waste. And there's people that we have homeless people and starving people in this country, and we've got problems where racially, for some reason, we're divided when we all come from the same place. What are we doing? Why are we fighting each other? There's a lot of things that we need to fix in this country, and I'm a little bit sad and probably a little bit angry that other people just are too apathetic, and so it forces old guys like me to put my damn boots back on and, go back into the trenches and start fixing things. I think probably that's what keeps me up at night. The fact that it's really like pulling teeth to get people to do what they're supposed to do and remind them of the oath that they took to the American public. You know, we our job in the government is to serve you, the American people, not the other way around. And don't look to me for answers. Don't if there's something that's not related to national security regarding, for example, UFOs, then you know what? It's none of the government's damn business. I don't want them telling me how I should think about this and how I should process this and what this means to me. You know, they can go to hell. They should stay focused directly on what their core mission is, and everything else needs to be determined and decided by us, the people. And I think we're relying too much on the government to give us solutions and answers. I think we need academics and scientists and philosophers and theologians and teachers and everybody la-di-da-di to come under the tent and have a conversation about what this means to humanity, and stop leaning on the government to say, feed me, tell me. No, you don't want to be in that situation, because then you're going to become a slave. Do not ask your government to do that. You know, we need to assume the responsibility for ourselves, and then keep the government focused on those parts of this topic that are related to their function. But I wouldn't give them an inch. I wouldn't give them a centimeter more than that which they are charged with looking at. I think it's a bad decision. I think we need to retain that authority. We should not be just giving it over to the government to do for us.
Love that. Love that. There's a reason you live in Wyoming, right, Lou? Yes.
There is.
Like,
yes, sir.
So many points that you just hit is like, man, I align with a lot of those ideas, and
100%.
I want to say more, but I know you're limited on time. I just kind of wanted to slip in before we hop off, dude. Like, thank you so much, Lou. Like, man, you are a busy guy, and the fact that you took your time out tonight to talk to us dummies, like, I really appreciate it, man. Like, dude, it's amazing to just kind of see that you really do want to get this message out there and talk and, you know, tell people what you know. And it was awesome getting to know you a little better, as a person, dude. Like, it was great.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ben, Joe, and Dan, you now know where I live. You guys want to ever come out here? Listen, I'm not kidding. This is not a frivolous offer. You guys ever want to come out and turn some wrenches and you know, hang out in the garage and smoke a cigar and listen to rock and roll music and talk about UFOs? You guys are welcome to anytime. Would love nothing more to have you guys out, you know, and if you want to do a podcast from out here, you know, out in the boonies, you can do that too.
Man, that would be absolutely incredible.
So epic.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
We gotta set up inside of a car, a project car, you know, like have the microphones, you know. Somebody's in the
coming in through the windows and stuff.
Dude,
that would be awesome, man. Yeah,
Sure.
We'll definitely do something cool. We'll have to do something cool for sure, man. But
great, guys. Well, it's been my pleasure. It really has, and I'll do this anytime you guys want. This is, you know, something that means a lot to me. You know, despite on top of being able to talk about cars, right?
Right.
You know, that's always fun too. But I do appreciate you guys giving me a little bit of your time this evening, and I really appreciate to your audience for tuning in and listening to us. You know, I know for them, they're probably frustrated because they want to say something, they want to ask questions, and it's just kind of us talking amongst ourselves. But let me just offer this to your audience. You know, we do hear you. And we know that you want to contribute to this conversation. We know that you add value to this effort, and know that we recognize that, and we are doing what we do because of you. So thank you all, because there would not be any UFO garage if there wasn't an audience to listen to it. So again,
exactly.
You know, I'm here because of them, and they are here because of you. So thank you very much for tuning in.
Anytime, man. You're welcome back anytime.
Yeah,
we had a great time with you, and we're definitely gonna have to come out and hang out with you sometime. We'll do a live one. Dan, you're coming with us. We're gonna have to schedule that up for sure.
Lou, I want to tell you my favorite. You've been on so many interviews. My absolute favorite moment of all the mainstream media interviews that you've ever been on, and I'm not going to call out the name of the channel that was interviewing you, but he said, we have with us Lue Elizondo, and he's going to talk about this. And you did it bad, and you just kind of went, all right, let's go with it. Crack me
Yes.
up. I was laughing so hard.
Yeah, well, I got a last name that I think I was like 15 years old before I learned how to even say my last name.
Yes.
It's kind of one of those family curses. And by the way, when you're and Luis Jimenez will tell you the same thing. When you come from a Latin family, we have this tradition where we take the names of our like ancestors and ancestors before on the mom's side, the brother's side, the cousin's side,
Yep.
and so you wind up with you go see those kids that go to kindergarten with those little stickers that say "Hello, my name is," and I've got this thing around my neck that's about this long. Hello, my name is blah 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 blah. All the way down. So, guys, it's been real fun. Thank you so much for having me. It's been really a pleasure. Thank you so very much, guys.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. We'll
Thank
talk
you,
to you
Lou.
next time, man. Thank you.
All right, guys, take care.
Peace, man.
Bye. All right, Dan.
Dan!
Cool, man.
That was fun, man.
I'm
That
glad
was
you
so
were
cool.
able to stop by and hang out with us tonight,
Yeah,
man.
dude, that was awesome.
They say never meet your heroes. I don't know if I agree with that statement. That was fun.
Dude.
Yes, man. Yeah,
So awesome.
it was almost as fun like watching your face kind of light up as it was like just the whole thing, It was,
Yeah.
it was
So
good stuff, man.
My wife had a friend over today. They were hanging out, and I came home and I kind of told them what was going on, and she looked at me and she was like, "I've never seen you smile so much." Because I was trying to explain to her like what I'm doing, who he is. Oh, have you ever heard of 60 Minutes?
Right.
And I just
Yeah.
couldn't stop cheesing. And she was like, "I don't think I've ever seen Dan this happy before."
Dude,
Yeah.
I realized that as well when I popped up on TikTok and I saw your thing, and I was looking for another video of yours, but it said, "Bring Christmas came early."
It's that was a pleasure, man. That made my year. I like that.
That's good
Bro,
stuff.
I'm
man.
so glad you're a part of it, man. Because I mean, really, like you've been well, you started out as a listener. You've been our buddy for a long time, man, and you really helped us out in a lot of ways. So I mean, the least we could do is like have you on to ask a few questions. It was great that you stuck around for the remainder of it. So I feel like it was a good vibe. So that was awesome.
We're ride or dies, guys. I'm sorry to tell you that, but we're stuck together.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So then you are coming with us to Wyoming,
Yeah.
right?
Dude, we got some traveling to do. We don't have. I'm ready to go.
We're going to Bledsoe's
Yep.
later on. Maybe not this summer. I already talked to Ryan. He said maybe not. He's pretty busy, but
Yeah.
we're gonna go to Bledsoe's and then
Yes.
we'll go to Elizondo's after that.
Yep.
And
And make our mitten.
And I want to go to Austin. I want to come hang out there at some point.
Start in Austin, dude. We'll have some barbecue, bro.
Well, and then there's what's that called? ICER that just started, and they're based out of Austin as well. I sent you the information about it.
Yeah,
I've forgotten.
The UFO pack.
Yes.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
those
got it
guys.
wrong. Those
Yeah.
guys are in your town. You got to get a hold of them.
Yeah,
I
so
know.
I sent him an email. I haven't heard back from him, but yeah, I mean, I reached out to him on almost said Netflix, Twitter. That's how hip I am with the internet. Anyway, so we'll just wait for their email. So we
Yeah.
definitely love to have them on, dude.
Yeah, it's
I
cool
don't
that
know
they're-
anything about them. I feel like they need to put something out that we can kind of consume easy. Like it seems like to learn about them, you're going to have to do a lot of research and digging. That's what the benefit of TikTok is that you can get information out in an easy to consume format that anybody can consume.
Yeah.
With that, everybody needs to have a commercial. It helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a video on their website, the ufopack.com, and it's like it's a pretty long video, but it kind of explains it, but it's like one of those I come from a marketing background, and there's a lot of like glossing over. It kind of gives you the broad strokes. So I'll be interested to kind of dig into what exactly they're doing, but it seems more political and like paperwork and things. So
Well, that's important. That's part.
Well,
of
yeah,
the
yeah.
puzzle.
Yeah.
But it's just not as sexy, like
Oh
everybody-
no.
I want videos, man. I want
Well, it's
I want
nice
a
to see
boxing
that there's
match.
something else out there, man, because like when we started, I was Googling all kinds of stuff, UFO groups, UFO Austin, UFO this and that, and nothing, man. There was like a meetup 3 years ago, some people on a rooftop, and that's like it. And then that's how we came across the Anomaly Archives here in Austin, man. And yeah, I mean, Smiles is awesome, dude.
Smiles.
That little museum is incredible. It's got like all kinds of like just dude, there's like a whole bookcase that's just full of just like MUFON records and like old like videos and tapes, and you can rent stuff, and there's books from like the 1500s in there. It's incredible, dude. Like that's such a cool place, and I'm glad we found it. But it's nice to see that these dudes are kind of popping up now, obviously, you know, cool. So maybe we'll have somebody to pal around with here in Austin a little bit.
Hell yeah.
Well, like I think they bring a certain a skill set, knowledge base to the conversation that most people don't have, and that's my view of Danny Sheehan right now, and who's now representing Lue.
Yeah,
we need lawyers. We need these type of people. Instead of us just kind of talking about it, there's people that know how to get things done.
Instead of just us knowing about it, we need somebody.
yeah.
Like everybody's like, spread the message. We're just raising awareness, but like no one does anything.
and so one of the questions that keeps coming up is why now? Why now? Like Dave Scott, who I really enjoy his show, talks about it. I've heard someone say this, and I can't remember exactly who it was, but he said, I think what's happened is the reason it's coming out now is because we had a guy that knew the system come out of the system and turn around and take advantage of it.
Yeah.
So
David's
like he's playing the game.
Dude. Yeah. Dude. Hey, yeah. Also shout out to Spaced Out Radio, Dave. Dude, like you're awesome. Thanks for, he's a professional, man. He asks the good questions. The idea that there hasn't been somebody up until now that has been in the system in the government that knows all the back channels and how things work. The reason that it hasn't happened until now, it baffles me. Like, why did it take so long for this to
stigma? I mean, it boils down to who would want to leave, like what Lue has done, what Chris Mellon has done. They have given up a lot to get to where we are right now. Like, it's hard to do that. It's hard to sacrifice to put others above yourself, like what I consider they're doing.
It always goes back to, well, obviously like cultural zeitgeist, but it always goes back to money. Like nobody wants to like give up their day job and possibility of not getting a job in the future to just talk about something that they're interested in. Like it makes sense. It makes me ever more passionate about this idea that what if after this 180 days on June 25th or whenever it comes out, some people say the first, whatever. But Joe, you said it first. What if what they come out with, what the government comes out with is that there is this new technology? And what if it does replace our monetary system?
Like, what if it's like a technological revolution that we're about to enter? But in order to enter it, we have to kind of release some of this information for any of it to even make sense. Yeah. Right.
Right. Something's got to change with the way that we think about our economics. I think that has a huge thing to do about having to do with it, because no one ever does anything that's in charge of something that's really important if it doesn't have to do with money or backed by money. Or
we got to start trading pecans.
Hey, I'll tell you what.
Well, I'm gonna push back a little bit on them not wanting to leave because of money. I think that a lot of the people in the government that get into those higher levels are alphas. They're not just in it for a paycheck. They're dedicated, determined human beings that are bound and determined to get to where they want to go, and they don't want to give up. It's like playing a sport. I love basketball. I never want to stop playing basketball. I don't get paid for it. I'll never, if I did get paid and you stopped, I'd still play. Like, and I think that's the mentality of like Lue and Chris, is they're driving forward to accomplish a goal that they can accomplish outside of the system better than inside of it, when most people in that system just want to stay in that system and advance to their boss's position.
Yeah,
dude. Yeah. Ooh, dude. That's okay.
Hey, all right. Hey, do you think Lue called Tom and told on us?
He's
on the phone with Tom right now. Like, hey,
I was a little uncomfortable.
These guys have an incredible idea, and y'all need to get y'all shit together.
You need to check out to the Farts Academy.
They're gonna figure it out before you guys do.
They're onto it. They're onto us.
And I'm about to join their team.
There's a new player in town.
There's a new player in town, Lue Elizondo. It's gonna be. Dude.
like
Somebody had said they've been posting videos for a year to drop that joke, and
it
yes,
finally paid off.
yes, we have actually been posting for a year just to drop that joke. But
We had to. I mean, I'm so glad that you. I honestly didn't want to, but I'm glad that
no, dude, no, we had
I
to.
would have been pissed if we didn't
Dude,
do it.
you worked so hard on this website,
I
bro,
did.
and it's so funny.
It is so
You
funny.
haven't put the comments back up yet, but it's hilarious. I mean, dude, I
Oh
mean,
my
yeah.
god.
The
It's-
best
it's-
part is I think that Tom DeLonge will probably have to go check out that website. If
I
he
know.
hears that there's something like that, he seems like the kind of guy to be like, I'm looking at that. Well, I gotta go look now.
He's gotta love it. I mean, come on.
He seems like he's got a great sense of humor, man.
Yes,
Oh
dude.
yeah, dude. I mean, like growing up listening to Blink 182. I mean, it was nothing but like dick jokes and banging your mom and like running around butt naked and like who cares? Like like it's just it's so funny, dude.
William,
It's so funny.
shifting into turd gear with Lou. Yes, dude.
Yes, man.
Oh my god.
I loved it, dude. I mean, yeah, no, I think it's great, man. Lue's never seen anything like that, man. Lue's had a lot of good interviews, but no, ain't nobody busted out to the Farts Academy to him, dude. And I could see it on his face. He was pretty impressed. I could tell. Lue was impressed.
One
was
thing
speechless.
I was trying to figure out what is Lue's longest interview that he's ever had. Because he was on here for a long time, a lot longer than I expected. It's usually
know.
1 hour.
I was stoked. I was like, oh my gosh, yes,
Yeah.
he's still here.
It was funny, like when the little thing popped up, he was like, "Oh, looks like I ran over time." like, no, Lue, you didn't.
No,
We're gonna
dude.
keep talking.
You will.
Well, and that's what I think you guys bring to this is it's an enjoyable conversation to have. It's not like, hey, I'm going to try to get as much information out of you as possible. I'm going to pry until I get something from you. It's just a conversation. And that's what he's been asking, is to just have the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
I appreciate you saying that, man.
Yeah, totally.
I know. Yeah, we've had conversations off shows and stuff. And yeah, I think it is important to just talk to the person. Stop he's been interrogated probably by a professional before. Like, he's really,
man.
yeah.
And there's so many people new to this topic that all like the in-depth conversations that he has on some of the other channels are not going to be relatable. They're not going to understand what's going on. When you guys have them on, it's going to make it easier for people to get into it, to understand what's going on, to start to pique their interest in the subject.
Well,
Yeah, man. Thank you for saying that,
Yeah.
dude. Thank you
In
for
a
saying
goofy
that,
way,
man.
in a goofy, silly kind of way.
And I'll turn it back around on you, Dan. Scratch your back for a second. I mean, dude, this TikTok thing that you started, at first, I mean, you had this YouTube channel. I mean, you said that it just took entirely too long to make these videos. I think the first time you had reached out, like, hey, check out my TikTok, it was at like 2,000, and then it bumped up to like 13,000 in like a week. And now what are you at? Like 50?
Just shy of 50,000. Which, hey, TikTok followers, thank you for following me. I hope you keep watching my videos and checking them out. And if you haven't, go sign up on Fifth Pillar of Emphasis. But if you just search UFO, I'm probably like the first or second thing that pops up now.
Yeah, if you search UFO and then click on users, like you're the second person. It's right there. So
My content is going to be almost step by step in line with what Lue and Chris and their efforts are leading us towards. I like to I try to cover in as non-biased manner as I can. So the information isn't my information. I'm giving you the information that is out there that you might not be aware of. Take it, consider it, and then think for yourself, make up your own opinion of what this means. But here's the data. Here's the information.
Yeah, well, that needs to happen though. Like, that's why we call you Newsman Dan, dude. Like,
Yeah, man.
And,
easy to consume. Like short snippets of information are going to be easier for people to get their mind around. And we're UFO Talk is the king of long form conversation. But
yeah. And it's also
tough.
what you do. Well, I'll just scratch your balls. Just again, just a second.
You get
But,
one,
like,
I get the other.
all right, tight. But like, you don't inject your own perspective into your TikToks, which is refreshing. A lot of people will, they'll they see, oh, I've got a lot of followers, a lot of people are listening to me, I'm going to go ahead and put my own spin on things. And it's nice that you haven't done that. I mean,
because I don't know. I just don't know what's to do with it all. I'm just looking at the info. I hope people are looking at my videos and just consuming them the same way that I'm consuming the article or the news piece that I'm reviewing. It's basically, I'm starting to think of myself as, you can watch a basketball game, or you can listen to the dudes on Sports Center talk about the highlights of the game. Yeah. And then if those highlights are interesting enough, you would go watch the game. Well, that's what I'm trying to do, is just say, here's a little bit, go investigate further, if I can pique someone's interest. So this is the quote that I've talked to my kids about before. I'm a big old school rap aficionado. I'm going to paraphrase Tupac. Like, what I'm hoping for out of my TikTok channel is, I might not change the world, but I could spark the brain that does change the world by doing a stupid TikTok channel about UFOs. Maybe somebody that watches that is the person that's going to change the world and be the next thing. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude.
That's beautiful, man. That's what it's all about. I mean, we had the spark to start our own thing from someone else. I mean, Ryan Sprague and Somewhere in the Skies. That was I was like, man, this guy is relatable. Cool. I'm like, I want to. If he can do it, I can do it. And like Dave Scott, like, dude, we just related to him in a way. So we just said, fuck it, let's just start our own thing. And, a couple years later, it's pretty crazy that we don't really talk to Ryan Sprague as much, but Dave Scott, like, dude, he's a huge part of our journey in this podcast. And he's done a lot for us, and we try to do a lot for him as well. So check out Spaced Out Radio if you aren't already here from there. So if you're watching this thing.
I liked how this one said 60 Minutes got here. It's funny that 60 Minutes is trickling down into the UFO Garage podcast.
That's pretty awesome.
They're like, oh, and at the end of 60 Minutes, and they were like, oh, and by the way, next week Lue Elizondo will be on the UFO Garage podcast.
Former and future member of To the Farts Academy.
Yes.
Dude, I
Balskin Company & Co.
I'm so glad that he didn't like totally just stop the broadcast.
He rolled with the punches, man.
He did, man. Man.
That is when his 5-minute check came up, though. So
it is. Yeah, someone was like, oh, okay. Someone had, he's probably got a really great crew around him that probably is trying to watch his back. And if they saw one of our episodes, they're like, hey, Lou, just warning you, these guys, 1 minute they could we could have you in tears. And the second minute we're laughing about genitalia. Like, you never know with these fucking guys. So that was pretty crazy. Awesome timing.
The goal is that every guest that comes on, man, we just want you to have a good time. That's it. Like, just have a good time. If you're not having a good time, then we're not doing our job.
Well, and like I said when I was talking to Lou, like, this isn't work for me. Looking into the UFO stuff is my hobby. And who does, like, you do a hobby because you enjoy it. It's fun. It is fulfilling. It's what I like. So that's why this is such a great topic, and it's world changing. It's literally going to change the world in the future going forward. And I can't remember who was talking about it. It's like, we're talking about people not wanting to leave the government because they could lose their pensions or whatever. But the impact could last 50,000 years on humanity. Like, by our generation stepping up to the plate and doing something, we could change the course of human history. People aren't going to remember our society for COVID, but if they're going to look at us and go, that is when we found out we weren't the only intelligence on Earth. That is going to be the game changer. And we're currently witnessing it happen right now. It's amazing.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I could not have said it any better. I was, I guess I deduced from what Lou. I want to get to know the guy a little bit more, but I really do appreciate that he's open to these aspects of consciousness and he's interested in it. And man, I would love to know more about what his ideas are. And I get his stance that if you veer away from the subject, I mean, there's such a magnifying glass on him right now. It really, his analogy of saying that don't stop, you know, if there's not that pause in between, like so much of what he could say could get construed. So it's really tough to go into that deep stuff that I would love to talk to him about. And this is stuff that I love to talking to anybody about. I mean, catch me at a relaxed, you know, dinner party or something. I'm not saying, well, thank goodness we had some rain and we really needed that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, so what does your consciousness say? Like, what do you feel in your gut? What are you doing? Yeah.
Just imagine what a conversation with Lue 10 years from now would be like. If you go talk to him after all of the history that's currently occurring and going to continue to occur, when he's able to speak more freely and give us what the real story is in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, whenever, it's going to be amazing. Like, I'm not going to say that Tom Cruise should play him in the movie, but he is going to have a movie he's going to be a main character in a movie at some point in the future. Like, that's what I keep seeing when I see all these news broadcasts that are talking about UFOs, is this is going to be the backdrop of a movie in the future.
Maybe
we're living in crazy times.
Maybe Lue Jimenez will play him.
Yeah, could be.
Oh, that would be sick.
Yeah.
Unidentified celebrity review. What's up, Lue? If you're out there, what's up, dude?
Yeah, because their names are the same.
They're the same.
They look very similar.
I think maybe, and in his older years, maybe you can play.
Get the goatee going.
He is an actor, by the way. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. He's an actor.
So,
dude.
William said we got 2 thumbs down.
Yes.
Is it really only 2? I was thinking we were gonna try to get to 500. But,
oh man. Hey, Beverly said, I doubt anyone else has had him talking about weed, cars, and farts. That's very true. That's very true. Everybody wants to know what he can't talk about. So I know everybody wanted us to ask us shit he can't talk about. That's
the thing. It was so tough. Like, dude, we got so many Twitter messages, and I apologize everybody out there that sent us stuff. I did have them written down, but it just didn't feel right to just interject and say, "Oh, here's this really." Yeah, and I know I didn't have probably the greatest questions either, but I mean, hopefully there'll be another time where we can ask all the questions.
Yeah,
but
dude, in his garage.
It definitely.
Yeah, Dan go.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, it's like at a certain point you have to realize, hey, we're not gonna break that vault. Like he's a rock solid. He's not gonna overstep his bounds. So what's the point of even asking the question?
By this time, everybody's asked him a lot of the big questions, right? And for the most part, he's been like, I can't really talk about that, right? You know, so like, what's the point of doing it again? You go listen to another show, and it's like, oh, we couldn't talk about it, but you know what kind of car he likes? Yeah. Yep.
Dude, I loved that, man. I didn't want that's when time just kind of flew by when we were talking about our favorite car.
Well, he absolutely lit up. I mean, the look on his face when we were talking about that, his demeanor changed completely at that point. So he was enjoying himself at that point.
Yeah. I mean, it's just refreshing to have that kind of interest in common. I mean, I'm not a gearhead, but like I've definitely been around a lot of really cool cars. Yeah. So I know a little bit about it. That was awesome. Your question, Dan, about the what was the headlight thing in the stars?
Oh, on the tree or
what is
did
that?
You guys catch that? All right, so there's
there's
back in like the 60s, they used to call it 3 on the tree, and that is the 3-speed transmission. I think it was in Chevys in the 60s.
Yeah,
but the high beams on most modern cars, it's on the left-hand side, and you pull it back to do it. But in 72 and earlier, it's a button on the floorboard, and you stomp on the high beam button on the floor. So that lets me know that he not only knows what that is, but that he likes cars that are older cars that have that feature.
Yeah, man,
and it's fun.
My car had the floor high beams, and when I would click them on, the dashboard would go dark.
They have character when they get a little older, for sure.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell, dude? And that car, when I got that car, I was so excited. And the first time it rained, I went cruising down the road, man, and I hit this puddle. And as soon as I hit the puddle, my floorboards exploded with water. And I didn't know that there was 2 massive holes in the front floorboards with cardboard over them, and they just stuck the carpet back on top. So as soon as I hit that puddle, dude, I was soaked. I was on my way to school. I was like, man,
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. Yeah.
So I worked with a guy named John R, and I'm gonna have to send him a shout out for this because he told me a story when he was in high school. Him and his buddies were riding around in this old station wagon, drinking beer, riding around. And the floorboards in the back had a giant hole in them. Well, they got pulled over by the police. They lifted up the floor mat, stuck the beer on the ground, and then waited for the cops to leave, and then reached back and grabbed the beer off the ground and put it in.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Miss you, John.
Yes, man.
That's awesome, dude.
Oh, that's great, dude.
Yes, dude. Well, Dan, I mean, you had some other questions that I really wanted that conversation about like ancient Egyptians or like the ancients, man. Something about the ancients, the druids. No one knew who they were.
What
they were doing. I would love, man. I would love to know his opinion. Of course, as we said, he can't really.
Yeah,
he's not gonna say anything about that. But I wonder what Lue thinks about that. But
well,
Dan, where are you at with this, with this journey? Because I think we started at the same time.
So, I mean, my journey goes back a long time, but it's been it's been with me for most of my life, but it's been much more serious. Since 2017. It's one of those things that you are ashamed of, you know, like I was ashamed to be researching UFOs and looking into this stuff with the amount of effort I was putting into it. It was embarrassing for people to find out. It's like, I don't know, just embarrassing.
Yeah.
But then it started to get on the news. And like I said, the moment when Lue told Max that, congratulations, you're on the right side of history. That to me, like I said, breath of fresh air. Like,
what did he say to who's Max?
So Max is a podcaster out of Amsterdam, and he's had Lue on twice. He had him on the first time, and I mean, he's doing a bang up job. Shout out to Max.
Sweet. What's the podcast name?
I can't remember. I'm sorry. I got it saved, and he's got a long name that's not American, so it's hard for me to spell it.
Yeah.
But he's had Harry Reid on. He had Stephen Greenstreet on this week. I mean, he's banging them out left and right now.
Well, but check him out.
When he had Lue on the first time, he basically told him like the Catholic Church wouldn't look in the telescope because it was going to impact their view of the world. So they were on the wrong side of the history. And then he went and proceeded to tell Max, you're on the right side of history, or congratulations, you are on the right side of history. So that makes me just go like, okay, I'm looking through the telescope right now.
Dude.
I am.
Dude. Okay. I'm sorry. Max Muskowicz. He's in that group, the message group with the unedited from the Big Phone Home.
Yes.
Yeah. Dude, so I've chatted with the guy. Great guy. So I watched a little bit of his in Lue's convo a couple nights ago. It was really good, man. Like, yeah, he's awesome. But so did he say anything? You're talking about telescopes. Did he say anything about the Vatican?
No.
Do we want to go down that road?
Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge.
What do you think about Lucifer, the telescope?
I don't know.
Man.
Every time I post TikTok, I get people telling me that it's just demons. Like it's like every single video, someone says it's demons.
Demons.
When we were live yesterday, like there was at least a couple people that were like, "The Lord, hey, quit it! The Lord says quit now."
What's funny is Alex Dietrich, the Dave Fravor's wing woman, I guess, she was talking about UFO Twitter, and she was saying like there's all these sets basically of different people, these groups that are for this thing, they're all looking for answers, and then there's this religious group, I haven't figured them out yet, and then and she moved on from there because it is I don't know, man. It's hard to grasp. It's hard to understand, and it's not an official stance of anything. Like it's not an official organization hasn't come out and said, "Hey, I'm the Catholic Church, and I think these things are demons." It's just people that read the Bible that interpret it in a certain way, which it's up to you to interpret the information. Just like all this UFO information, it's up to you to interpret it and make and think for yourself and come up with what you think it is.
Right. Well, I think that goes back to the idea of everything is just in our heads. We name things. We're human. We name things. It doesn't mean it is the thing that we're both talking about, man. It could be a demon. It could be an angel. The fact that we put some sort of guidelines or rules and attach them to these entities, I mean, calling them entities, the closest word I can think of to describe them is a mistake. Like, don't do that. Like, they're not going to abide by the same rules that humans do. They may not have empathy. They may have more empathy than we do. Who knows? But just because we name something a demon or an angel, and I'm not trying to say they're the same thing. I mean, obviously we all know the difference, the innate difference in our gut, like what's wrong and what's right. But I feel like these entities, whoever they are or wherever they're from, don't really abide by the philosophical good or evil, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that brings me back. Did you answer where are you at with the ancient ones? Like, I mean, the goddess Hathor. Do you feel satisfied?
Joe Pesci,
Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.,
a
part of the royal bloodline.
He is actually.
So the thing I always go back to is Lues' example he gave of a burning cigarette, and that some entities might not view time or perceive time the same way that we do. We see it as the burning cherry. But what if other entities have a much larger cherry that represents the present? Maybe it's all combined. So that to me is when I get linked to the past directly. Like, I feel like that's what would tie us to it. If there's an entity that can navigate time like that, then to them, we're all the same. Like, us and the ancient Egyptians are the same, just in a different location, basically. I don't know if I'm answering your question there.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Why don't you know the answers, Dan?
You know the answers. We just, dude, the Egyptians had way cooler clothes than us.
So have you guys seen, like, have you guys ever dug into the feats that are in India? Like,
I'm not really a foot guy. I'm not really a foot fetish guy.
Oh, sorry. The architectural marvels that are in Egypt, I said Egypt, that are in India are phenomenal. Kailash caverns or something like that. I mean, it looks out of this world, guys. Like, the detail of their stuff is amazing.
We're looking at some stuff where they had like separate moving parts, like inside of stone, and they're like, how did they make this happen? And like,
I think his name's Praveen or something. Like, he's the YouTube guy that's from India that goes to all these things. Oh my goodness, man, their stuff is amazing.
Dude. Yeah.
You know who does a really good job of investigating not only Egypt ancient technology, but all around the world is Bright Insight.
Geraldo.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy from Bright Insight, dude. Geraldo Rivera.
I thought that's where you were going with that.
Yep.
So he just put one out about the Rakat structure again.
Yes.
Did you see that one?
I did, and I've been waiting for a part 2. So it finally came out a couple days ago. Joe, did you see this? The Rakat structure? It's so Jimmy from Bright. Jimmy
was off the hook, man. he's off the hook. I haven't watched anything in like a week.
By the way, dude, that was a Tom Green reference, right?
It was.
Was it you that said Tom Green had reached out to you or followed you?
No. He started following my channel. I think I'm one of 109 people that he's following on TikTok. I'm so flattered.
That is
my bum is on the red.
Awesome.
You gotta get Tom Green on the show. Dude.
Yes, he would be a perfect fit for this. Tom Green, if you're listening.
Thomas.
But I had to write him. So when you follow someone, you can follow them back and then start messaging them on TikTok. And I said, Undercutter's Pizza is still the best pizza. That was the first thing I said to him. I was like,
oh my God.
that was one of the most genius sketches of all times. It
Dude,
cracked
that
me up.
was hilarious, dude.
Shit,
Oh
I don't know
my
the skit.
God.
I'm sorry, I feel
Oh.
terrible
Bro,
that I don't know.
He would follow this like a pizza delivery
This
guy
poor
around.
pizza delivery guy just
Like,
trying to do his job.
He would show up with him, and then like he would open a tackle box full of ingredients. He'd be like, "Oh, we can make your pizza right now." He would,
We'll do it for less.
Yeah, we'll do it for less.
You would have the dough ready.
Oh, dude. Yes, it was crazy. He was like, "I can make your pizza right now," or
And
like when
was
he would.
super confrontational about it.
Oh man, it's hilarious. Or like he would like run through like soccer fields with kids playing soccer, and he would steal their ball, and just run off with it.
Oh, dude, we need to bring that back. Like the early 2000s humor, I think is going to come back in a strong way.
I
dude.
hope so.
We need people like Tom Green to carry
Yeah.
the torch.
Yeah, Tom Green taught me how to check my balls for cancer.
Yep.
That's
Sickly Man magazine. I remember the front cover of it.
Hey kids, rub your balls. That way you don't get cancer. Squeeze your balls, please your balls. That way you don't get cancer. Yeah, that's how I learned to check my balls for cancer was Tom Green. So you can say whatever you want about him, but the dude was like, I mean, he was all about the
message
health.
is in the music, guys. The
That's
message
right.
is in the music.
That's right, man. I used to love that show. That was great. I loved it. One of the people in the chat, I think his name was Terry. He was like, "Yeah, I follow Lou. I saw
Cinnamon
it."
Terry?
And that's what I was gonna ask. Or Cinnamon Terry, are you in the chat right now? And by the way, he was asking who we are. We're the UFO Garage Podcast.
Yeah, UFO Garage Podcast. It's on the YouTube.
It's in the title.
Yeah. Oh, hey, also, Tammy, thanks for hanging out. I mean, at the very beginning, there was a little bit of troll action, and thanks for like keeping the positivity. I have to shout you out for that.
Yeah.
So, and also William had our backs too. There was, no one knows us, man, and we're just goofballs. And people come to this channel expecting this serious conversation. They don't really know us yet. So, William, also shout out to you for keeping the vibe in check, dude. I really appreciate it.
And Beverly wanted to know if you have your own channel, Dan, if you can go over that stuff again. I mean, you have your TikTok and all that stuff. So give another plug to your stuff. I mean, people are asking about it. So
yeah, so I'm on UFO Twitter a lot. So if you want to look up, I think it's just Dan Warren. It's my name, DANWARREN. You can find me there. If you want to find me on TikTok, like I said, you can just search for users and put UFO in there. I'm the fifth pillar of emphasis, which is a name that came from one of the comments Lou made. It might have been on Lou Jimenez podcast where he's talking about the different parts, the pillars that he is going to put forward. Yeah, there it is. But they're taking care of the first four. The fifth pillar of emphasis is engaging the masses. And that's what I'm attempting to do. It was actually on UFO podcast, or that UAP podcast with Andy.
Nice.
But he kind of issued a challenge out there and said, "Hey, get off your ass, start having the conversation, do something." And it was at that point when I said, "All right, well, I'm going to try to engage with the masses as the fifth pillar of emphasis in any way I can." And I'll tell you right now, I think that UFO Twitter needs to start getting onto TikTok to try to reach a broader base, because we tend to preach to the choir on UFO Twitter, but we're reaching I feel like I can reach a bunch of new people on TikTok in an easy to consume format. So look me up on TikTok, and I've got almost 250 quick little videos. I try to make them packed full of information and not opinion. So
yeah, man, that's awesome.
Cliff notes for what's going on.
Me and Ben were talking about a new way to like really reach the masses, and we're just not sure if like the U.S. Postal Service is ready for that kind of challenge. I mean, you write a handwritten note to every person in the country, it means a lot more,
Yeah, it does.
So we got a busy year ahead of us.
I need to order
all the envelopes and
so much.
Hey, if you guys want to help the podcast out, y'all can donate at UFOGaragePodcast.com to help us get stamps
Yeah,
for all of these
we need
letters
stamps.
that we're going to be sending out.
What is
pretty
a
soon.
stamp? Does anybody know what a stamp costs? I have no idea.
They're $2.75.
It's ever changing, Dan. It's an
is.
economy itself.
And it
The
depends.
stamp economy is booming right now.
It's incredible. My wife has these Woodstock stamps, and they're pretty expensive. I was pretty mad when she was like, "Yeah, they were like $5."
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, can I have one?
No, they're $5.
Why not, dude?
We only have like 2 left.
Oh, okay. Dope. William said 47 cents.
Oh, 47 cents.
Dang.
Oh, we got a fact checker in the
Well,
in the comments.
someone's got
section.
to do it. We don't-
All right, I remember when they were 25 cents for first class. That's how far back I go.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Yes.
Yeah.
I only have Canadian money. It's kind of like Monopoly money, but prettier. Yeah, it is pretty. Yeah, it was pretty money, dude.
Dude, Canadian. Also, Australian money is really dope. Have you seen?
Oh yeah, they
Australian
got
money?
koalas.
Yeah, all kinds of fuzzy little creatures and some reptiles. They need Steve Irwin on there somewhere, dude.
I know. He needs to be like on the $100 bill
Yeah.
Yeah,
or
man.
whatever their money.
I
is.
was addicted to his. I was addicted to the Crocodile Hunter when his stuff was coming on. Man, that was some of the best TV watching that's ever been. I mean, did you have that friend that could imitate his voice? Like I had a friend that could nail it every single time.
Boy.
It was great.
I'm gonna stick my head up this rhinoceros's ass just to see what happens.
Yep.
That's like a quote from something I saw a long time ago. I'm sorry, I don't know who originally made that joke. I did not.
South Park.
I think
maybe?
South Park. I
Was it
gonna-
okay? Hell yeah! All right.
Yeah,
Most of my personality comes from South Park, so.
that's another one. That's
Dude.
another one.
So man, like out of everything, like we're on the topic of like money, right? Maybe this is boring, but I kind of want to get back to that conversation of what if this new technology that might come out? Maybe there's some information, there's some rumors in the mill at the water jug, at the element 115 jug, that this new civilization is going to be catalyzed or catalytic, whatever the verb is, by this new technology. And what if that technology requires a resource that is highly coveted by other intelligent races among the stars? And they really don't want any competition for that resource. I mean, if we're talking like element 115, yeah, that we all kind of know that they're interested and seen the documentary. If that element is really precious and only happens in specific parts of the universe, or maybe it happens in a different dimension, I don't know. I'm just kind of coming up with ideas. It would make sense that the powers that be kind of want to keep it hush hush, right? Like, are you guys following with that? Like, if a new technology requires a new resource,
Right.
what if that's why all this secrecy?
They want to
Exactly.
monopolize the resource, is what you're basically saying.
Yeah.
But you would think that they would only be monopolizing the resource for other fellow humans. I mean, if these things are using the resource,
Are you still talking about the government?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's like if these things, like, you know, if they are flying across the galaxy, I mean, the universe, I mean, the resource has got to be pretty abundant. You know, it's just that me and Ben and you can't go and get the resource or know how to harvest the resource or whatever, but the powers that be can. So, like, I mean, that would be the whole thing, is that, like, once again, it's just another thing that's restricted to the public, but everybody else, except for, you know, those people and the aliens, they can all get it.
All right, let me ask you this. We're talking about weird propulsion systems that could use something special. Like, I struggle with when Lue talks about we have bits and pieces of something from an off world, or I can't remember exact verbiage he used. Like, it seems to be just like a little bit or a piece. And then there's people that are on the other end saying we have entire intact craft. Like, I don't know how to combine those two in the same narrative. Like, is someone wrong, or is someone just uninformed? Like, is Lue just not privy to the information that says, yeah, we got something something special and functional that we don't show anyone. Like, how do you guys feel about the little layered bismuth magnesium sample that everybody talks about versus an intact craft? Two totally different things.
Absolutely. Two totally different things. And I think when you look at the way that everything is, you know, you've heard so many people talking about the compartmentalization of everything and everything being done like separately. And it's like, well, when we look at Lue's job compared to somebody who is like a scientist working on this technology, I mean, yeah, they probably have two different ideas of what's happening because they were privy to two completely different types of information. And also, how long have you know, somebody could have been working on this technology for 50 plus years, you know? And, you know, Lue being in for a few years and like the AATIP stuff, and I'm sure he did a lot of, you know, hey, you don't want to go too deep, but I mean, I'm sure he's done a lot of crazy shit. But I don't know, like your investigators, like Lue, like people who go out and investigate and do stuff in the field, like are they getting the same information as the people who are like having to work on the technology? You know, like it's almost like, are they just trying to cross check each other? Like, okay, we have this technology. We need to figure out kind of like, you know, some more data points like he was talking about. So like, how can we make this work? Let's see how it flies. Okay, let's create this other separate group that just goes out and investigates and collects data. And we can cross-reference that data that we're collecting with what we already have and see if we can make that work because we don't understand how it works yet. You know, that's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, and then what's the fuel for what they've done? Like I don't know. It's so complicated.
What would be interesting is that the fuel is meditation, or like really concentrated consciousness. Like if it's free, if this fuel is free, everybody's talking about free energy, 0 point energy. Well, what if it was so easy that we realize, oh my God, dude, we could do this. We could make anything work if we just have that click in our head, you know, that unbiased opinion where it becomes not just an idea of the subconscious, but a reality of the conscious, that you can actually make a difference. And like, you know, we're talking about magic, like creating a difference in your physical reality. If it was that easy, I think whoever is making a profit off of a meter is going to be very uncomfortable with that reality. If we all realize that this fuel is available to us at any time, and we just have to think about it. All we need to know is this little key, to unlock that key to understand how to make this work. That'd be very dangerous for those that make a lot of money off of this economy, this current economy.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if any of that made sense.
Terry says, since these guys are dropping info, when is someone going to inform them that any info from black budget programs isn't subject to NDA? Yeah, totally. Yeah. No, we know. Yeah, you're not going to get it. I mean, you're just not going to get it. That's why we're talking about the difference with like what people are studying as opposed to like what these people are doing in the field. Like, how are they connecting this information? I don't know. We don't know. You can't, you know.
Well, I think he's talking about not NDAs, but like FOIAs. Like it's like if you have a special access program outside of the government and industry, it's not FOIA-able.
Right.
By the way, speaking of the king of FOIA, did you see what John Greenwald put out today? This is something that I was wanting to ask Lue about, but it was one where I was like, I know he's not going to answer this question, so I'm not even going to bother. But John Greenwald, for the last 2 or 3 years, has been putting FOIA requests in to get Lue Elizondo's emails that had the word unidentified in them. And they've come back and he's appealed it multiple times. And then they finally came back. And today he put in an article together that says they basically just admitted that they've destroyed all of Lue Elizondo's emails, which to me is like, nah, I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. Like it's there, but we're not going to get them. So it's like, and it just makes you go, Lue is being erased. That's what that Lue's military service, or government service is being erased right now.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the cat's out of the bag. We already have the evidence that he worked at the Pentagon, right? At least we have the evidence that he.
But they go flip flop on that, and that's why he has put in the request for the evaluation or the inspection from the DoD Inspector General over this, because of the flip flopping from the Public Affairs Office on how they're handling the UAP issue, as well as Lue. Like, he's basically like, I haven't heard him say things that his lawyer Danny Sheehan has said, but he's basically pissed. He's like, they're dragging me through the mud. They're tarnishing my image. They're spreading lies about me to the American people and about what we can do. And he's pissed about it. So that's where I think he's being erased from it.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. But
we know that he worked there. Like,
well, yeah. I mean, and
are they just gonna write new history books?
Well, they'll say it's like, well, he didn't work for the Pentagon. He worked at the Pentagon, like as a contractor, and there's a lot of like verbiage and like words that they're using that makes it confusing.
Who cares? Even if he was, I mean, yeah, we've heard from.
Did Lue Elizondo park in that parking lot? Did he park in the Pentagon parking lot?
Did he get paid? Yes. Then he worked there. Like, what's the semantics here? Like,
no, I didn't work there. I worked for them.
Like, you're not gonna work for somebody like that, like the government, like that, and just have a Yahoo email address or a Hotmail email address. You're gonna get a government email address that it's on a private server, right? Like, so they have all control of that. I mean, when you leave a college, you no longer have access to that email. Like a couple of months after that, like
but the people that still work there that he was emailing, they still have it. Like, I don't know how good you guys are cleaning out your inboxes, but I got them back for years, and they go into archive. Like, so if Lue had emailed me, I'd still have it on my record. So that's where I have a hard time believing they don't have anything to bring to the table.
That's another technology I want to bring to the table for Balskin Company & Co. is email cleaning service.
Yeah, we definitely
called Email Douche.
Cleans it right out.
Putting that out there.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
You want a fresher email?
Do you want to get close to your email again? Do you want to have personal?
Do you want to feel sexy while you're checking your email?
Do you want to, ladies? Do you want to feel fresh when you're checking your email every morning?
Dude, I have thousands of emails. I need an email douche immediately. My inbox sucks, dude. You can't
even check the podcast email,
dude. It's like
a new phone. That's what you need.
It's like I scroll through and I start deleting, and then like I delete like 600, and I'm like, I'm so sleepy right now, and I'm not even halfway through my emails, and I can't just select all because there's a few important emails, so I have to go through, and like I should have been doing this like 2 years ago, and like I started like a couple months ago, and slowly but surely I delete emails. But dude, like they just keep piling up. I think it's a lost cause.
I'm right there with you, man. Mine's
like you need
4 digits for sure.
Yeah, I just know that I don't need to go past page 2. That's pretty much it.
I pretty much, unless it says like Dan as the first word in the email, it's like, I'm not gonna read it. It's not for me.
I always search for like discount. Like I search for discount, and then every email that I find that says discount or any kind of monetary nomenclature, I just send to spam immediately, or opportunity. That's another. Anyway, try out Email Douche. It's it's for free for download for the public.
So
check out.
The comment that's up right now is about Richard Dolan. I am a big Richard Dolan fan. That guy has quite the memory on him, man. I don't know how he knows so much and can just recall it, like dates, days, events, locations, all that stuff, man. He's just got like it. He's got it going on up there.
Well, pretty much. I have a photographic memory, and anytime I read something, I can pretty much just remember it for the most part.
and he is like, I feel like he's also come around to Lue. I think he was pretty leery at first, but lately he has been very pro, and
Yeah,
he's
totally.
basically, I feel like he's starting to talk about the subject in a way that we are like, there's so much evidence of this happening. It's probably what's happening.
Yeah.
Opposed to, well, there's this one little flaw in the logic that Lues didn't have any assigned responsibilities for AATIP. Well, come on, man.
Yeah.
That's just blowing smoke, basically.
It's like got down to semantics at this point. It's like, so we're talking about one word.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
I mean, yes, one word, it can be very important, but like I said, man, like I was very leery at first, and the more I hear the guy talk, I mean, I still hold my skepticism a little bit, but at the same time, it's like, okay, you extend the olive branch and you're like, all right, we're going to start fresh, like you seem to be pretty genuine. And all you can do is hope he spits on it first. If this is all, smoke and mirrors, that's all you can really do. But for the time being, like if we're going to be all working together, let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. If we have this, if it's true, and you have like these government people that are like, look, we genuinely would like to help get some stuff done. That's awesome.
Yeah. So he was basically, when he came out, he was basically guilty until proven innocent. But it was more liar until proven truthful is kind of what he's had to go through in the UFO community.
Right.
While the Pentagon is taking shots at him because they're pissed at the way that he left. It's been a rough road for him, man.
It really has. It really has. And I'm glad that he, was like, yeah, I totally understand why, because there's been a lot of gnarly stuff that happens, you can't expect all these people to just be like, oh yeah, I trust Lue, and I'm glad that he gets that, but then like you said, he starts getting all this flack from the Pentagon and like all like the people that you assume are like his buddies. And then you're like, oh, maybe he's telling the truth. These guys are giving him shit, Yeah. So yeah, I've definitely switched my opinion, quite a bit. Like I said, I still like my guard's not totally down. If something were to go the other way, it'd be kind of one of those like, well, I guess I'm not surprised. Like if this is all like awesome, good, true information and it is very genuine, I mean, that's what we've been asking for this whole time.
And my view of Chris Mellon is just about identical to my perspective of Lue at this point. Like I don't know about you guys, but I didn't trust Chris as much. And I don't even know if trust is the right word. I had less suspicions of Lue. I had more suspicions of Chris when they first came out because he lives in a different world than us. Mm-hmm. Like his vocabulary, the way that he navigates through the government is an entirely different planet than we live on, guys. So like for that guy to be on our side is like, you shouldn't be on our side. You're the guy that should be against what we're doing. So for him to be on our side it was hard, a big pill to swallow, but man, it has paid off in spades to have that guy on the team.
For sure. Seriously. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Absolutely.
That Rogan interview was epic, man. Like that was awesome. So we have a Gecko Life. Joe and Ben, did you ever ask Lue about Dr. Greer willing to participate in a discussion on third phase of moon? I heard a little rumblings on Twitter about this like connection between Greer and like there's some kind of beef going on or something.
They have the same lawyer, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, this is something about third phase of moon, dude. Okay, this is my personal. I don't know anything what the third phase of moon is doing now, but that was like when I first started getting into UFOs. That was like one of the first channels that I started watching. But I quickly realized like not every video was truthful. I mean, I'm not trying to like start anything or like talk shit, but I think it's I don't know if it's entertainment or if it's supposed. I just don't know. Is it supposed to be entertainment or is it supposed to be like breaking news? Here's some actual UFO videos. I don't know. Like,
Or is it like, hey, here's all these UFOs. You figure it out.
hey, you look it up.
You look it up. Dude.
But the first time I saw the Palestinian UFO video, did you know what I'm talking about? The Dome of the Rock.
Dome of the Rock
Yeah,
that
yeah.
shoots up.
That was the channel that I saw that on first. I know it was uploaded by someone else. It was just like, I don't know if it was resurfaced by Third Phase of Moon, but anyway, I don't know the story behind it, but at least it led me down a path to open up those doors. So, I mean, I don't know what's going on with Greer and everything.
I can fill you in a little bit on that. So the Dr. Stephen Greer has come out and basically said, get ready for the alien fake false flag invasion with holograms. Where it's coming. Lue Elizondo was a disinformation agent, and we need to have a talk about it, basically. And Lue was on SOR yesterday and basically said, and he asked him the question, are you going to go and debate Stephen Greer? And he said, if I walked by a middle school playground and the kids yelled at me and were calling me names, I want to jump over the fence and go beat them up. I'm just going to walk on because there's no point. I'm basically above that. So he's not going to participate in a debate with Stephen Greer on Third Phase of Moon.
That's probably a smart move. How do you have a debate without divulging information that you shouldn't be talking about, right?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like, well, we could talk about everything that we talk about on this podcast after Lue kind of got off was like, dude, it's not the time yet. Maybe one day, Dan, you were saying like maybe 10 years from now. Sure. Yeah. Probably would have the conversation. That's what I'm guessing, but I don't know. Like, wait, so there was literally like they wanted to have a debate on Third Phase of Moons, like talking about the threat. Was that kind of?
Yeah, it revolves around the threat narrative. And in my opinion, Lue's, it's his vocabulary. He uses the word threat. It doesn't mean hostility. It doesn't mean they're coming to get us. It just means
we don't know.
We don't know what it is. So until we do, it could potentially cause harm. But Stephen Greer views that as they're trying to instill fear in the community, in the population, so that they can then put a holographic projection in the skies as a fake alien invasion to garner power and control the masses, is basically what Stephen, and as foretold by Warner von Braun, according to Stephen Greer.
Yeah.
And Carol Rosin, I believe, is her name.
I mean, I feel like there's some bits there. I feel like there's some bits in there that could possibly be true.
So what I heard,
I don't know, man.
I want to say it was Dolan that was talking about it, but I think he was getting interviewed by Engaging the Phenomenon, James Ian Doley, and was asked about that. And he said, well, sure, what if they did do it? How long could they possibly keep up a holographic invasion before someone said, hey, look, I put my hand right through this thing. It's not, it's
That's
fake.
so
Like, and that game over at that point.
Someone else like puts a like.
Dude, we had
Like-
talked about this on one of the shows on like how at this point, dude, like this holographic stuff is almost like outdated. Like by now you would think that the technology that they would use is far superior to just shining a hologram up in the sky.
Well, maybe-
I mean, it's like we had talked about like how, the military released that stuff on how they use like the skull technology, where they would literally like shine a laser at your head and make you hear noises and people talking to you. And they would, use that kind of stuff. I mean, like, I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe like, there's some weight to that. Like a hologram in the sky by this point might be a little outdated. I mean, that's your whole like Project Bluebeam type stuff people always talk about. And at some point I think maybe, that was probably a good move, but it's like now that information is rolling out, like, and people are talking about the Bluebeam stuff, but like, it's like, I feel like we may be past that era at this point. I think whatever it is probably, if some of these things are flying around and it is us, I think they would just use the actual machine.
Yeah.
Point of using a hologram.
So if they're flying holograms around, someone's going to fly a drone right into the hologram just to see.
Yeah, absolutely. There's gonna be people shooting guns at it and all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's wild. I understand why they don't just show up.
Oh, that was one thing that I'm thinking about as well. You know how there's always the conversation like, hey, we don't want to have a more advanced civilization meet us because it's never worked out good for the lesser advanced technological civilization. I'm thinking that what happens is at some point in civilization, it kind of shifts. Like there's an island in the Indian Ocean where the natives are still like in the Stone Age, basically. And we don't even mess with them. They kill us if we go to their island. So we just said, all right, we're going to back off and not engage with these people because they're content doing what they're doing. And I'm thinking it's almost like at a certain point in the advancement of a civilization, you start to care about the other civilizations and you don't want to hurt them. You want to provide for them, help them out, or not engage with them at all to distract them from what they're doing and just let them go about their business.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know.
But
then
man.
do they,
Do we know if the Steven Seagal thing worked out? With I think Greer was working on an emergency documentary that was going to be like published in July.
I had heard about
and
that.
Steven Seagal was going to be in it.
I don't know if that worked out.
I want to see Steven Seagal in a new like an alien flick. That would be sick, dude. That'd be dope. Oh my god. Like, yeah, it sounds ridiculous, but like it would be awesome.
He's like teaching karate to aliens. He's
all right, if Stephen Greer gets to have him on his film, I think Lue should be able to get Dan Aykroyd on his film.
Yes. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Love that.
Have you ever heard one of his interviews about UFOs?
I've heard all.
That guy's amazing,
Dude,
man.
Yeah, Dan Aykroyd is awesome.
He's another person kind of like Richie Dolan, and we're like, he's really good with numbers and dates and names. You can just spit them off, and he just
in such a casual manner. He's just so smooth about it too, man. He's impressive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's super awesome. That guy had I think there was there was a documentary that he was doing a while back, a long time ago. And he said that some people pulled up to him and was like, hey, shut your mouth, basically. He went outside to smoke a cigarette and they showed up and was like, hey, stop talking about that.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, shit, okay.
Men in Black, man.
Okay, I guess I'm done.
Well, the funny thing is like, what do you talk about after that? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
It's
good. Is rain?
You guys hungry? We're done with the documentary. Wrap it up.
Yeah,
man, that would suck so bad, especially if like you're almost done.
Terrible. I can hear Nibbler snoring in the background right now.
Yeah, I saw him spinning around back there earlier, like trying to make a nest.
Sleepy. Look at it. Well, all right, man. We're gonna get a close up on Nibbler really quick.
Yeah. Oh, it's not letting me do it.
He's trying to just make his bicep look big. What are you talking about?
That's all he's doing.
He's trying to flex on us.
You're not buff, dude.
What
are you doing?
Dude, don't lie, dude. I'm freaking like so ripped. I'm like 150 pounds.
Lucky.
I'm full of sinew and bone. Man, Dan, I can't thank you enough for hopping on, dude. Like this is awesome. I mean, it wouldn't be the same without you. So I'm just glad it worked out. Like everything. So,
definitely, man.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how grateful I am for letting me come on this thing and get to have a conversation with Lue. I very much appreciate it. I owe you guys big.
Dude, well, I mean, that's kind of the thing, right? Like we just kind of scratch each other's backs or balls or whatever.
Yeah, dude.
We're just,
it's gotta help each other out, man.
I think as long as you're open to one day joining our To the Farts Academy or Ballskin and Company and Co. As an official member, you just tell us what title. We have a few titles open, but we'll just let us know what segment you would like to.
I'll probably have to do some thinking on that one. I don't know what the title is yet. You don't put me on the spot. I can't come up with anything.
Dang it! I thought you were gonna come up.
I can't. I'm drawing a blank.
Oh, dude, no worries, man. No worries. Yeah. This has been great, man. It's been an awesome night.
Yeah,
having you here, and I don't know what I'm dropping. I don't know.
But yeah, dude. So I mean, the end of I kind of want to end on this, guys, is that none of us know what the hell's going on. None of us know.
Nope.
And we just love this conversation, and I think everybody that's listening in right now wants to know too. And it's really fun to talk about this stuff. Like, it's just fun. Okay. Like no one really knows. I mean, I guess Lue does know some stuff, but hey, we got to talk to him and get to know him a little better. And that was cool. But I kind of want to leave on that note is that no one, if you really claim to know what's going on, you probably don't know what you're talking about. I mean, we've been told that by many people in the industry or the community, and we've had a lot of friends in the community that have said, yeah, if anybody claims to like know what's going on and spouting it on top of a mountain, like be wary of those people.
Yeah.
So I think at the end of the day, we to do ourselves a service should say, look, we're just curious and we're trying to get to the bottom of it. That's
absolutely.
That's the thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Ooh, Third Face of Moon is on here, dude. What's up?
He's been chatting like for a whole minute.
Oh shit, my bad. All right. Well, I will stop embarrassing myself. Hey guys, subscribe to the podcast or the YouTube channel, please. That would be awesome. We're trying to get to 1,000. I don't know. I still don't think we're at 1,000 subscribers.
I don't even know where we're at. Terry, yes, dude. Time to roll a bedtime fatty. Yeah, dude.
All
Absolutely.
right. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Let you guys close the show down because you guys' voices doing this. The ending is way better than if I tried to cooperate. So I'm a bow out gracefully.
All right, brother.
Man.
Talk soon.
Great talking to you.
All right. See you guys, man.
Peace, dude.
That was good stuff, man. Thank all you guys for joining us tonight, man. We had a really good time.
Yeah, it was
pretty laid back. Had a couple brews.
Beers.
We had some brews for Lues.
Brews for Lues Blues Clues.
Lues brews.
Lues brews.
Lues brews, man.
Damn.
Hey,
we should start.
It's a Wyoming brew.
Oh, okay. All right.
Made in the garage.
That's what's up. I feel like the best beer is brewed in a garage.
Yeah.
You like homemade beer?
Yeah.
You know, alien beer.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Yeah, we gotta hop off. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. Please subscribe to the channel. That would be awesome. UFO Garage Podcast. If you're just listening in, thanks for joining us tonight. And yeah, we're gonna be back on next week with we don't know yet, but we'll post it. But yeah, we have some awesome people that are on the podcast regularly. And also, shout out to Dave at Spaced Out Radio, Will and Micah at Bob Podcast. Check them out. And Mark and Phil at What If Tomorrow Podcast. Those are all of our really good buddy podcasters. And let's see, UAP Expeditions. Check out them over there, Gary. They're just awesome people. So if you like what we're doing, if you want to, check out the other people that we talk to on a regular basis, check them out as well. UFOGaragePodcast.com. We've got all the links up there too. And To the Farts Academy and Ballskin and Company got is also on there as well. You got to save me at some point, dude.
And don't forget to check out Private Talk with Alexis Texas. She's got a great podcast.
Yeah.
And
is that what you were looking at?
Yeah. I couldn't remember the name of it, but I started listening to it and let's just say I'm a big fan. All right. She's a big part of my my adolescence, right. Into manhood. Right. Yeah. So go check out. Check out. Maybe one of these days we can get Alexis Texas to come on the show, man, and talk about aliens with us.
That would be sick.
That'd be awesome.
we should get her on
Next Thursday.
okay. Let's reach out.
Episode 169, dude.
Dude.
We'll have Alexis Texas on to talk about aliens. Sweet.
Boy.
Nice. Nice.
All right, let's hop off.
All right, dude.
Peace.
Hey, this was another episode of UFO Garage. Talk to you next time.
Goodbye.